Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean.
Post-game show with Seth Joyner.
I knew that they had a running game.
Derek Gunn.
He has put in the effort.
Devin Caney.
Had we not won the Super Bowl, what would we be saying?
And Mike Missinelli.
Well, you know who Philly is.
Post-game, now streaming on the 6ABC family of apps.
What's up, everybody? Welcome on in. Yes, we are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Hope you're doing well out there on this Friday Eve, a.k.a. Thursday. D-Gun, B. Brooks, R. Ellis. What's up, my guys? How we doing?
What's the deal? What's the deal?
Yeah, I like what William Stark said. Sports Take, D-Gun, Barrett, Rob. Let her rip.
Yeah, baby. Love it.
Let her rip.
I see you, Tyler. I see you, Mole. I see you, William. Yeah, as Gunner just mentioned. Yeah, I see you, Adam. What's up, John? What's up, Big Will? What's up, Christian? What's up, Samuel? All doing well, I hope. I hope you're having a great day so far, and we're going to give you 3 hours of power to make that day even better, baby, because that's what we do. All right, so how we doing? Everything all right with you guys? You ready? Have you recovered yet, Barrett, from the loss on Christmas Eve, man? Where are you?
I'm finally there.
Okay.
I'm finally there, which leads me to ask this. What brand game was Seth talking about in that commercial? And what were you talking about? What the hell were you talking about in that commercial, man?
What was I talking about? What I said? I was talking about Jalen Hurts put in the effort. Seth, I'm trying to figure out because that was taped.
It must have been after they ran it. They stopped the run, right?
No, that promo was done in July. We had a big dinner out at King of Prussia.
You hear that, Rob?
That was all filmed in July.
Barrett,
our guys was doing his own thing.
They lost our email address.
Yeah.
Hold on.
We didn't get a call.
How many times do I have to explain it to you two? That was for the announcement of the pre and post game team that was assembled. Mike Missinelli, Devin Caney,
hold up, man. Who put this together, man? Me. Who put this together?
No,
me.
I'm the reason Seth is here. Don't start no mess with me.
Who put this together? Me.
Oh, wait.
I was on JAKIB Media
it's
first.
True. Barrett's the OG. He's the OG here.
And then what? So then let's hear this. And then what?
No, I was just asking what you were talking about. I just wanted to know what you were talking about.
Are you saying you lured me here? Is that what you're saying?
It was quite the round table, man. Like there was a lot going on there, man.
Right.
The thing is, it was us four, and it was all the dignitaries from Pond Lahaki law firm as well. Dude, it was a private room. And that room was packed, dude. They had like 3 or 4 cameras in there, and it was just them filming us a general conversation talking about football. And then they picked excerpts to make that promo, which was well done how they did it. But yeah, you can't even see the volume of people that were in that room, and it's a decent sized room, but that room filled up in a hurry
with two notable guys that weren't there.
Wait, okay. Are you on the pre and post game? You're on NBC's pre and post game show. Rob is on WIP's pre and post game show. This was about the JAKIB Media.
We like being around
media. You're right. This is about JAKIB Media.
Right. This was
Rob, not
JAKIB pre and post game show.
You're not on the 3 hours we spend, Gunner's not enough with you. We need more time.
First of all, Rob.
Yes.
There's only a few days left in the year, and you're still lying. You're still telling lies.
My New Year's resolution not to lie hasn't kicked in yet.
Speaking of New Year's resolutions, my wife tells me yesterday that I've become mean on this show, that the show has made me mean, and that I need to be nicer like Rob and Barrett. And I'm thinking,
wow.
Thank you. Yes.
What?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Trish is recognizing what we're dealing with. That's interesting.
Oh, because I like to stir up controversy and conversation. I'm being
saying,
is that it?
If Trish feels that way, clearly something, this is deeper than just Barrett and I.
What did you say, Rob? Clearly, huh?
You two are antagonists, man.
I love it.
Goodness.
I love it.
You guys just agree with anything she says. She doesn't make a difference.
We're Wally. We're what's his name? Eddie Haskell's. That's what we are. We're little Eddie Haskell.
John Dickerson says D-Gun yells at me a lot. Not as much as I'm going to when we get you on this show. I'll tell you that now.
Oh my
That's
God.
like William Stark. No, D Gun is going to be upset. You know what? Hey, D Gun got to do what D Gun got to do.
Here comes D Gun. Yes, William. You are
Yo,
correct.
M.
Man.
Reyes, D Cilio Gun. Come on, man. Listen. Hey,
Whoa.
Hey,
He's hitting you with that, huh?
I'm telling you, man, that's low blow.
Okay.
Okay.
It's gonna be that kind of Thursday. We like those. We like the feisty Thursdays. Man. That's what we do. Yes.
Look, Barrett, he's just so happy Trish said it. I'm gonna tell you something right now, Barrett. I'm not going to change. Get it out of your system right now.
Oh my goodness.
Hey, I want to echo Chris D's sentiments. Let's hit the like button. Let's pound that like button now. We haven't gone on a run in a while with the like button. Let's go on a run today. How's that sound?
Absolutely.
We need to make Chris.
Thank you, Chris.
Our official
I see Big William and
PR
Jack and
person.
else.
Yeah. She needs to be our official PR person to push for better likes for this show daily.
I like it.
Yeah. Well, look at
Adams. Can't pay you anything. I'm sorry, Chris, but
look, Adams Exploit. He understands what I went through.
What do you mean?
In the early days.
Where's Adam Exploit?
In the early days, man, I was there through tough times, man. Look, I was there. I was definitely there, man. I had.
That's you. You persevere. I got you.
I had some guys that were rough around the edges.
Hold up, tough times.
What
do you mean tough times? Hey, hold on, man. You're sitting in front of a camera talking sports. How tough could it be?
You really don't understand.
You weren't there.
Yeah. I understand. I wanted to see if I could get him to say something. I understand.
Hey, you know what, John? The sweater hasn't come yet. I'm starting.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about the sweater. Yeah. What's so?
I mean, I even sent you guys. I even sent you guys the receipt showing that I paid for it.
No, I know you did. I know you did. That's taken a while, man. That was. What was that? 3 weeks ago?
No, it's been like a month ago.
What's going on? You know what?
I don't know.
That sweater may never get to you. Might have got hoodwinked, bamboozled.
I think your neighbor's wearing it. I think I saw your neighbor walking around wearing that thing.
Man, ain't nobody in their right mind gonna wear that thing in public, man.
Tell everybody what we're talking about, Barrett, for people who might.
It was a White Castle sweater that I bought. In fact, do you still have it?
Yeah, Xander. See, he sent that to all of us. See if you can pull that up in our group text. I think
I had to. I mean, I saw it, man. It was just like a work of art. I'm gonna wear that sweater proudly.
Yeah, man. That was awesome. I think that's got New Year's Day written all over it if it gets here by time.
Can you guys believe that? Is New Year's Eve on Saturday, bro?
It's sick, man. Sick.
The New Year's coming in, man. You know what my New Year's resolution is?
No more resolutions.
Here we go.
Something close to that. I'm just gonna be, like I said, just become a better version of Barrett Brooks, man.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, I'm going along the lines.
Oh,
of
we have it.
Exploits.
We have it. Here we go. Oh my God, man!
That thing is hideous,
Did you get the hoodie too, Barrett? Is that what you got?
No, I got the second one down. Yeah, I got that one right there. Yeah, I got.
Why did you get the hoodie, dude?
I actually like that better. I like that one better.
Yeah,
I like that style better also.
That looked like a parochial school special, man. Come on, man.
I think I wore that for 12 years.
That is beautiful. Because look, I can wear khakis with it.
Yes.
Why don't you wear a hoodie? Why don't you wear a hoodie over the top of that?
The hamburger buns would go well with the khakis.
That's exactly
perfect.
Hey, why don't you wear a hoodie over that thing so you can't see it publicly?
Yeah, that was.
Bro, that's amazing, man.
That was good.
Yeah,
man.
I mean,
how much you pay for that?
It was like $45, $50, something like that.
Should have gave you $44 back.
Should have paid you to wear it. Yeah.
See, I like Adam's exploits. D Gun is honest and he don't troll. That's right. Thank you, Adam. I appreciate you, bro.
Yeah, that's debatable. Man. That's debatable, bro.
Thank you. You don't see me trolling, man. I don't troll nobody.
You only troll us. You only troll Barrett. Yeah. You're the only two.
No, I troll John Dickerson's Twitter account, man. Some of the stuff he puts on there is hilarious. Like what he put on there today. Did you see the one I sent you guys today?
Yeah. It was
dude, this stuff is hilarious, man. Yeah. That's a shame, man.
What's his handle? I don't know. I'll pull it up. I want people to follow him,
bro.
He's a good follow. It's
Jackson.
Paul Arch 65 at Paul Arch 65. You should follow him. He's very funny.
Hey, man,
I paid too much for this, Lee Jackson. This shirt is way too much for it, man. I paid like $150 for this.
That's a nice hoodie, though. That's a nice hoodie, though.
Yeah, man. Because I got to go to the big tall man store, double DXL. Mm-hmm. DXL is expensive, bro. It's expensive.
Yeah.
You ever go to the big man section at
What's up, Mama Brooks?
Come on.
Good morning, Mom. Afternoon, rather.
It's a chain store. Oh my god, starts with a B.
Bosco?
No, something like that. It goes to a Bosco. Doggone it. I just passed it the other day. It's a chain store. And they have a big for clothing, and it's like a discount
Burlington
store.
Coat Factory.
There you go. They have a decent
they have good stuff.
big man section. Yes, I love this stuff.
They do. I go there every once in a while, and and I might see like they have like the year before's button ups.
Yeah, but it's still sharp though.
You get good deals. It's a good place,
bro. I go there at least once every 2 months just to buy 1 or 2 button ups, man. Because my family gets button up shirts. My family gets pissed off at me. They're like, "Why are you always buying clothes?" I said, "I have to buy shirts because as a big guy, you can't look sloppy, man. You can't, as a big guy, you got to make sure you're put together nice on TV because I'm with some coworkers that look pretty daggone bad sometimes, and
really,
you just can't do.
What you trying to say about us, man?
I'm not talking about y'all, man. You know where I'm. No,
don't you tell us. Don't you tell us who you talking about?
Stop. Would you stop?
B-Gun is terrible. I see.
You are. See, this is
antagonist right
this is where Trisha's right. This is exactly where Trisha's right.
Trying to set me up. See?
You are bad, man.
Well, come on, man. Hey, look, man. You can't be putting stuff out there and not finish the statement.
Well, but here's what I would say. Here's what I would say. Forget about burying something. All you need to say is I'm on TV and I'm on a stream, which means people see me, which means I got to look good. That's it.
Right. That's it.
And write it off, man.
I should have said it like that.
Yes. That's all you need to do. Yes.
What is this? D-Gun, did you see the tailgate takedown post I tagged you in on Twitter, Jeremy Brewer? Jeremy, no, I did not. I did not see that.
All right, resend it. Resend it to him.
Yeah, I got to see that.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's a sale at Gloucester's outlets. I need to go by there then.
people are throwing tips out there to Barrett.
Right.
Unbelievable. All right, so we got a lot today. We haven't heard anything yet on whether or not Jalen Hurts is practicing, whether or not they've activated CJ Gardner-Johnson. Hey, so let's take 2 guesses here, guys, before we hear anything. One, I don't think they're going to activate CJ Gardner-Johnson off the injured list, the IR, whatever they call it. Yet. I don't think they feel like he's there yet. And
right.
I feel like if Jalen, I don't think there's going to be some miraculous difference between yesterday and today with Jalen's shoulder. My guess is he's not playing this week. So they're just my guesses. Where do you guys fall?
I don't think they're playing. I think they feel they have enough talent to take care of business against the Saints without putting those guys in further harm's way. And then they'll get even more rest. Once they beat the Saints, they'll get even more rest, resting up against the Giants, who should beat the Colts and get in the playoffs this Sunday. I don't think they're playing. If they were playing, if this game had more significance for it still has significance. But if it was like against Buffalo, Kansas City, maybe. But against the Saints, I don't think they're playing.
You're right, man, and it almost doesn't make sense because I think that they do have enough right now to beat that Saints team. Because looking at how they're constructed, he must have known. He must have foresight of seeing that they may be in this predicament. So they brought in people at major positions which get hurt the most. You know what I'm saying? So I think they're going to be all right. As I look at this game, it's still looking like they're going to win, but it's going to be a battle, man. It's like I'm not like because I still have confidence they're going to win this game, but not like I had against Dallas. And every time I've thought like that with the team that should blow them out, and I was hyped like that, they end up getting their butts kicked.
Yeah,
and that was Washington and Dallas. I was hyped for both of those games. Remember that?
Oh
yeah.
Oh, dude, Dallas, man, you were unbelievable. You were up for both, but Dallas, you were fired the frig up, man. You
taught me a valuable lesson that game, preceding that game.
What's that?
Taught me a valuable lesson. I will never allow you to get me jacked up the way I was jacked up just listening to you the whole week.
It should have been that way though, bro. They should have won, man. I know, man.
Okay, we can't say that though. You know how we say, shoulda, woulda, coulda. We can't. They didn't win.
Right.
They didn't get the job done. You can't do that.
Right.
It happens across the board, but
I do feel like New Orleans is going to give them everything they got. I don't think New Orleans is particularly good. And what worries me a little bit is New Orleans defense has got some players, and we went over a little bit yesterday, and we'll do that today. But I'm with you, Barrett. I think we were talking about this yesterday. I think they're just going to plug Driscoll in.
I think tackle. They are too. Yeah,
and I think that New Orleans is going to look to exploit him, and then this is really where that's where the game for me is going to be won or lost, like, or whether it's going to dictate whether it's close or not. Also, I think if Driscoll holds his own, which would be ideal, perfect. Or
I hope so.
Yeah, or they're able to just get him some help over there, and you can at least contain, what's coming from that right side. Then I think the Eagles will be fine. If not, Minshew doesn't have the mobility that Jalen has. That could be a problem,
And that's why I'm saying it, man. I mean, it could be a problem because it's not necessarily sacks that I'm worried about. It's more so running the offense the way you need to run it.
Right.
You have to call a different offense. If you move Jordan Mailata to that side and brought in Dillard, you could basically call the offense and it'd be just fine. Just like you would call when Lane was there.
Right.
It'd be, but if Driscoll's there, you got to slide the protection over there. You got to allocate a running back or a tight end to that side. Resources have to be pushed to that side. You can't call the same things that you would call if Lane was there. If Mailata's over there, you can still call those same plays. He can run that tackle trap. He can do a lot of the stuff. You can't expect him to one-on-one against their best players, every single play and not think that you're going to get some pressure or you're going to get some hits on the quarterback. That's just being basically plain and simple.
Yeah.
My concern is how many gadget plays will the Saints run? The Saints love to run gadget plays.
Yeah,
how many gadget plays will they run and catch the Eagles napping?
Well, you know what?
That can make a big difference in the game also.
You know what, D-Gun?
Wow.
They're not gadget plays for them. To them, that's their regular offense. That's why
I know.
They're paying Taysom Hill a lot of money just to do those call plays like that, man.
Yeah, but by gadget, I mean they run so many variations of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's not like he's just going to take off and run. I've seen him where he stepped up and like he was going to run, step back, pass, dude standing wide open. He might step up and hand it to somebody coming on a jet sweep. I've seen so many variations of what they call their wildcat formations and stuff. I've even seen Alvin Kamara back there. And you think he's going to run, all of a sudden he throws a pass every now and then. So it's just that everybody is giving the Eagles something they haven't seen before. We've heard them. Yeah. We've heard players talk about it for the last 5-6 weeks. Lane Johnson in particular on our post-game shows. Teams are showing stuff you're not seeing in film. And that's understandable. When you're playing a team that's the best of the best and you're hanging on by a thread or trying to make a move in the playoff push, you got to give a team that loaded, that solid on both sides of the football, something other than basic X's and O's. And we're seeing that from teams now. So that's why I said, especially a team like the Saints that like to run a lot of plays of deception, wildcat, all that stuff. What do they have in their trick bag for this Sunday, knowing that they still have a chance to win that division because they still have a game coming up to decide the division against Tampa Bay?
Right, and they could get help this weekend too.
Yes.
The Panthers could help them. That's absolutely a monster game, and we're going to hit all the big games later. By the way, EJ Smith coming up at 12:30 from the Inquirer. Looking forward to talking to EJ. But you're right, and guys, this is more of a general thing, even beyond the trick plays, which I do think they will throw the kitchen sink out there, man. But the defense did not have its finest moment. I know they got to the quarterback a lot last week, but they didn't have their finest moment last week. You need to see the defense really step up in what could be the last game that they play before the playoffs, your starters.
Right.
They need to, as a unit, I'm talking D-line, linebackers, corners, safeties, etc. They need to play better, period.
Yeah.
And I know there's injuries. I know C.J. Gardner-Johnson, Avonte Maddox. I got it. Everybody's dealing with injuries. You got to figure out a way to adapt and overcome. They have to be better on defense. And this is not a stout offense. Andy Dalton's not even close to what he was back in the day. They have Olave, but not much else. So, step up here and be better than you were last week against Dallas.
They should put a lot of heat on them too, because they got a rookie starting at left tackle. Not even the starting starter,
right?
Is at the starting left tackle. And just like for instance, they're lined up in shotgun with the back next to them, and all of a sudden just before the ball snaps, they shift over. So the quarterback, you have Taysom Hill sitting there, and then there's a hit, and then they'll move Kamara right over the center, like in the quarterback position, and they'll hike the ball, hike straight to Kamara, and they either run it or run an option play, where he's going to option it off to Taysom Hill, or Taysom will be a lead blocker. I mean, they do so many different things out of that look, man. it's something that they're gonna have to work on, man. So I know they spent a lot of time in those gadget plays, like you said, and Wildcat and everything else, just from seeing so much against Cleveland. They ran a lot of that against Cleveland.
And we agree that Andy Dalton is not the Andy Dalton that we've seen of years gone by, but in 12 games, he's completing almost 67% of his passes. He's got 17 touchdowns, only 8 interceptions, and he's only been sacked 18 times.
Yeah.
So the problems have run deeper than Andy Dalton on that team. Andy Dalton can still sling it, you know.
Oh, he's far from a stiff. Andy Dalton's fine. I mean, he's serviceable. He's not. We've seen. Look, you could find some real bad quarterback play in this league, and that's not Andy Dalton. But you should still be able to beat them. I mean,
you should
take care of business against them for sure.
I just think this will be a great game for this Eagles just to get back on pace, get back on track,
and have a great taste in your mouth, Barrett. If you do rest these guys next week against the Giants and into the bye week,
just get back to fundamentals, get back to basics. Playing the way you should, play, creating turnovers, take advantage of those turnovers, running the ball successfully, making sure they control the clock. Just basic fundamental football that they have gotten a little bit away from. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Maybe at the kicking game, being an impact in the game. Just little things that they need to go out and make sure. Because they do have some players, man. Just like you said, Chris Olave is if he plays, he's they say he's gonna play. If he plays, he's a tough guy to defend out there, man. And he's gonna be in the slot and. He's going
that dude is going to be really good going forward. So,
yeah, he is. Yeah,
I mean, he's really just starting to figure this thing out. He's going to be really good.
He's as fast as CD Lamb, so that's a big problem right there.
Well, I was thinking if we didn't pick up AJ Brown, I'm ecstatic we got AJ Brown. I'm glad we did get him. But if he wasn't, if we didn't get AJ, I think they would have gotten Chris Olave.
Drafted him.
Brought him here.
Yeah, I mean, they drafted a wide receiver in the first round.
I think 3 straight. Would that be 3 straight years? Yeah, right. Rager.
Yeah, Rager.
Devontae, and then. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing is Kamara is a problem out of the backfield too. Whether it's running or catching the ball, he's a problem. He hasn't had the kind of year that he's, maybe accustomed
because they've sucked.
Yeah, I think it's more on them than it's on him. Yeah, for sure. But he's a problem. I think that those 3. But let's face it, guys. I mean, there's a reason why they're 6-9. I mean, they're not good. So, you need to just flex a little bit and finish them off. Just show who you are.
Just be consistent. Yeah. Play. I mean, you ain't even got to blow them out. Just play basic fundamental football. You get up by a touchdown, stay up. You know what I'm saying? Just stay up on them. I don't care how you win, just as long as you win. That's the biggest thing. Let's just lock this up so we can rest the guys we need to rest,
And see, we keep talking about the Eagles need to run the ball more, but you look at the last 2 games, they ran the ball 33 and 29 times. That's a good dose of running for a team.
That's a healthy dose of running, yeah,
for a team that can be but the results have not been there. So I got to watch this closely to see why they're not averaging 4, 5, 6 yards a carry the way they were all season long. The last 2 games, 33 rushes, 29 rushes, but yet the results have not been there in terms of the big numbers that we've been accustomed to seeing them put up.
Yeah.
Against the Bears, it was more so the Bears dictated what they wanted us to do.
But why
they forced them to on the read option to go to
so did other teams. But so did other teams, Bear. We talked for weeks about we've noticed DNs being more disciplined when they've rushed. Instead of rushing right at the quarterback, they were rushed to a point and stop and force the Eagles to make a decision on that RPO. Why did the Bears work when their talent pool on the defensive side was not nearly as good as some of the previous teams they were playing that they were chewing up in the running game? So what is it? Is it better gap control, different scheme? I mean, what is the last 2 opponents? Dallas, another team that's been a sieve in the running game, did a much better job against the run against the Eagles.
Well, they're playing a lot of guys in the box too. They're bringing up guys. If you notice, there's been a lot of safeties making plays on this Eagles team. That's because they're playing more in the box. Cornerbacks coming up making plays on cat blitzes. They're coming in and they're making, even though they're forcing run, they're running run blitzes as opposed to passing blitzes.
Right.
That's why you see our offense throwing the ball a little more because they take advantage of those one-on-one opportunities. Those, we have such great athletes on the outside with those receivers that, why bang your head against the wall when you have guys that good out there? And teams are starting to come into the box and say, all right, you know what? We're just not going to let you beat us with the run. You can pass on us all day. We understand you guys got good enough people out there, but we're just not going to let you run the ball, because the most demoralizing thing you can do to a defense is run the ball consistently for them. Because number one, it eats up clock. Number two, there's less of an opportunity for something bad to happen when you're running the ball. So you can be more consistent in running the ball. So teams are like, you know what? Forget it. I'm just going to bring a blitz. We're going to keep a safety in the box. And that's what teams are doing, keeping a safety, not just in the box, but they're bringing them into the line of scrimmage. Watch tape on it. They have guys like, safety, like 6. Now I told you number 6 for Dallas. Yeah. I told you he's going to be around the ball all the time. And that's exactly where they put him. They put him inside the box, in the line of scrimmage. And that's why the running wasn't as effective, because they just didn't have enough blockers to block the amount of people that were inside the box.
Well, based on what you're saying, then New Orleans has a perfect candidate to be down in the box. Tyrann Mathieu is going to be all over the place. He's going to be down in the box.
Absolutely.
He's going to be on the outside. He's going to be deep middle. Tyrann Mathieu's claim to fame his whole career has been one of those disruptive guys. You just never know where he's going to be.
Troy Polamalu type of player.
Yes.
He's that's what he is. Yeah,
so that's going to be interesting.
So it's going to go back to them. All right, we're just going to hose it. We're going to just keep throwing it. You know what I'm saying? And they just got, when you got receivers like that, man, it's hard to say not. You know what I'm saying? It's hard to say, all right, no, we're not going to throw it. We're just going to keep running. When you got players like that, when you got a tight end that's one of the top 3 tight ends in the league, a wide receiver, 2 legitimate number 1 wide receivers, it's hard to keep bumping your head against the wall. Like, you know what? You want to do that? We're just going to pass on you all day. We're just going to pass on you. So what? We'll run the ball every once in a while, but I'm just going to throw it to my big play guys. So that's hard to say no to, bro.
Yeah,
it's hard
I
to
hear
say
you.
No to.
I hear you. All right, let's hit it. Let's come back and let's talk to EJ Smith. EJ does an excellent job covering the Birds for the Philadelphia Inquirer. So we'll talk to EJ about all things Eagles, injuries, what this week's going to look like against the Saints going forward here, what he thinks they're going to do, playoff previews, all those kind of things we will dive into. At 1 o'clock, guys, we're going to do a comp between the roster and the team of 2017 that won the Super Bowl versus this team. So we'll do that at 1 o'clock. A bunch of other stuff to dive into. NFL at 2 o'clock. Don't go anywhere. Derek Gunn, Barrett Brooks, Rob Ellis. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. I want to tell you about Jim Murray and Principal Financial Group, because knowing who to trust with your finances can be a big time challenge, right? And I was right there in the front of the line for a long time, but I found that right person. And it's Jim Murray and it's Principal Financial Group, whether it's retirement planning, 401k review, insurance review. You might have a small business and you're trying to set up your employee benefits. That's another resource that Jim can help you with. I know personally, I've entrusted my IRA, my 401k rollovers, and a bunch of other things with Jim, and I could not be happier. Give him a call, 610-996-4751, 610-996-4751. You could also email him, Murray, Murray, .jim@principal.com. That's Murray.jim@principal.com.
Go for the beers, go for the cheers, go for the hit and the hits. Go for the scene, go for the screens, go for the gallery, go for the win, go to Ocean.
At Pond Lehocky, we've recovered billions of dollars for our clients, and we're confident we can do the same for you. With over 250 years of combined courtroom experience, we've helped over 100,000 injured clients obtain some of the largest settlements in Pennsylvania. One conversation is all it takes to help you and your family get back on track. If you've been injured in an accident, give Pond Lehocky a call.
Number 1, Jeff D'Ambrosio. Destination Downingtown is rolling back prices for a December to remember. For a limited time, you can own, not lease, brand new 2023 Jeep Wranglers for only $30,995 or $339 per month. New Rams starting at only $30,995 or new Ram 1500 Bighorn Crew Cabs $189 per month. Zero down can deliver. Get the price you want, the selection you need, and the VIP treatment you deserve. Jeff D'Ambrosio, Destination Downingtown, Big Finish Sales Event.
know that taxes are just part of life. It's true during our working years, but also in retirement. But what you might not know is up to 85% of your Social Security benefits might be taxed. Our team at Thrive Financial has helped retire thousands of people across the Delaware Valley by asking questions they never knew they needed to ask, including how their Social Security benefits might be taxed. It's time to be proactive on taxes. Get your Thrive Retirement Tax Playbook today.
Post-game show with Seth Joyner,
I knew that they had a running game.
Derek Gunn,
He has put in the effort.
Devin Caney,
Had we not won the Super Bowl, what would we be saying?
and Mike Missinelli.
Well, you know who Philly is.
Post-game, now streaming on the 6ABC family of apps.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Thanks for hanging out with us. We're Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Barrett, Derek, and Rob, and we are thrilled to be joined by our first guest of the day. He is EJ Smith. He covers the Eagles for the Philadelphia Inquirer. You can follow him on Twitter at EJ Smith94. What's up, EJ? How you doing, man?
Hey, what's going on, guys? It's been a while. I appreciate you having me.
How was Christmas? How were the holidays, man?
Christmas was good. I got in like just in time for Christmas dinner. I was like telling people like I felt like I was in a Hallmark movie, you know, rushing through the airport, trying to make it home for Christmas. So yeah,
planes, trains, and automobiles, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You got lucky, man, because a lot of people got stranded on Christmas, dude.
Bro,
yeah, I heard some people are still stranded, man. It's crazy
dude.
out there. Yeah.
Right now, Southwestern Spirit, man, they may have an uprising coming up, man.
Yeah.
Not pretty, man.
Yeah,
it makes you, as much as it was like chilly the last few days in the area in which the four of us live, you see some of the stuff that's going on in Buffalo, man.
Oh my goodness.
Whoa.
Unbelievable. Yeah.
For everybody, man. And for all of our listeners and viewers in those areas, man. Yeah, we're thinking of you. Believe me.
No question, man. It's ridiculous out there right now, bro.
Unbelievable. All right, EJ. So a lot to dive into, man. Give me your sense right now. We sit here at 12:34 on Thursday. Do we see Jalen in this game? Do you think?
I don't think so. I mean, I think that the organizational messaging around it has been to, I mean, like the way I put it is like they have every reason to lie about it. You know, they have every reason to tell you, oh, he could play. You know, they want the Saints to prepare for both quarterbacks, and I think they also don't want to rule Jalen out before they have to give him the credit, you know, that he deserves, and that the credit that they want to give him to sort of acknowledge, like, listen, you do heal differently than everyone else, and if you're ready to play, we're not going to hold you back. But I think that the severity of the injury, the risk for re-injury, especially with obviously there are stakes for the game, but, you know, the expectation that the Eagles should be able to pull out one of these next two games and do what they need to do. I think they're going to try and give him as much time as they can to make sure that he's 100% when the playoffs come around. And I think, you know, the expectation when he first got hurt was that he missed 2 games. So this is the second game. You know, I think the reason that it was 2 games, you know, that they said they expected him to miss, was mostly because, you know, if they need him for that Giants game, that's when they start thinking, okay, maybe we need to push him back out there. But this week, I don't think that that's the case. And yeah, I mean, he hasn't practiced. You know, it doesn't seem like it's pointing in the direction he's going to play.
Well, what about GJ?
I don't think so with him either. I mean, you know, Barrett, with all those guys that like they brought off the IR, when they opened that practice window, they wanted that thing open as soon as possible. It's kind of, you know, that's been the way that they've handled every single one of those guys. I think the fact that they didn't bring him off of IR, you know, open the practice window at least, you know, get him practicing yesterday. I think the fact that they didn't do that kind of suggests that he might be one more week away. You know, I mean, it's like, of course, like we always feel like, oh, well, he has to miss 4 games, and the second that he's eligible to return, he will. But, you know, even the way that Nick talked about it, he kind of pointed out just because he's eligible to return doesn't mean he will. So, yeah, I think he might be a week away as well.
So, EJ, do you think this Jalen injury is a little bit more than what they've been telling us in terms of a sprain?
I mean, I think that the way that they've been slow playing, I don't think he ever really had a chance to play last week. I don't. I'm not one of these people who buys that like, oh, this might linger into the playoffs. I mean, we'll see. They don't. We don't really know the answer to that yet. But I mean, like Ben Roethlisberger was the last quarterback I saw that had an SC joint, not the AC joint, but the SC joint, and he missed 3 weeks. So I think 4 weeks back to 100% is a reasonable thing to expect. But yeah, I do think that there's a good chance we won't see Jalen until the playoffs. Just because even if he's ready to go for the Giants game. I mean, if the way the Eagles handled preseason as like the indication, if you look at the way that they handle the preseason games, I don't know why they would flip from that philosophy of, more rest is better. Don't put these guys in harm's way to get him a series or two against New York, even if, he's close to 100%.
Any trends that are troubling you from a team perspective? Like I know a lot went on in the Cowboys game and 4 turnovers. You could start and probably finish there. But is there anything you're seeing that you think come playoff time against really good teams, this could bite them?
Yeah, the turnover thing doesn't really alarm me too much. The Eagles were so good not turning the ball over for most of the season. And they talked about how much they teach this and how much of an emphasis they put on it. But, the reality is that teams turn the ball over, some of them are fluky, the Boston Scott mishandled a handoff. That's kind of a fluky turnover that you don't necessarily say you can live with it, because obviously the coaches are going to drill that out and, they won't live with it. But those are the ones that over the course of a 17-game season, you're going to have turnovers like that. I think that, it's not a coincidence that the only 2 games the Eagles have lost have been when they turned the ball over 4 times. I think both of those games, you look at some of those turnovers and go, those aren't really, red flag, these keep happening type turnovers. The thing that does, linger with me, there's a good chance this Eagles team is going to see the Cowboys in the playoffs. And I do think that there are still valid questions about whether this defense and the way that it's formed, can hold up against the best quarterbacks in the league. Now, it might not come up. The NFC doesn't have a whole lot of elite quarterbacks, but Dak Prescott, obviously we can talk about Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady in the grand scheme of it, their careers. But as far as if they're playing a game today, Dak Prescott's that one quarterback in the NFC that makes me a little worried, because you saw how he looked against the defense, on Christmas Eve. And I think that just the way that the defense is structured, with the reliance on zone coverage and the lack of aggression, a lot of teams it sounds good to say we're going to sit back in zone and we're going to make these quarterbacks complete tight window throws, and we're going to make guys have to create after the catch, break tackles after the catch. But with Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb, you saw it, they can do that. Dak Prescott's not afraid to make those tight window throws. So I do think that Cowboys matchup is the one that I'm still a little bit, obviously the Eagles were still relatively close to winning that game. If they get a stop on 3rd and 30 there, they probably pull that one out. But, so I'm not trying to say that I think the Eagles would be in trouble if they played the Cowboys, but I do think, they always say styles make fights. I think that the Cowboys style, the way that they can run the ball on 1st and 2nd down, and the way that Dak Prescott can make plays through the air, that matchup is still one that I think could give the Eagles trouble.
Give me your evaluation on this game going into it with our slot corners situation.
Yeah, I don't think the Saints offense doesn't really scare me very much. They're if Chris Olave is back, that kid he's special. He's going to be really good, I think. But, if he's not back, Kamara is not what he used to be. Honestly, you could make a case that their best offensive player is Taysom Hill, who's the 3rd string quarterback and the 3rd string receiver. So, I do think that the secondary with Josiah Scott at the nickel and Reed Blankenship at safety, I think that particular grouping could have trouble against good offenses. But I don't know. New Orleans is one of those teams that feels they just want to make it into a fist fight, make the game real ugly, and try and limit points, limit possessions. And I don't know. I think that the Eagles have proven, against teams like Tennessee and even Washington the first time around, that they can win those matchups. They can win dog fights. So I think that they'll be okay against New Orleans, especially with what's at stake. But I think you're right. It's until CJ Gardner-Johnson is back, that secondary does give me a little bit of worry, just because they don't have they're pushing the depth that they have, and the scheme that they play doesn't necessarily maximize when you do have some guys who are maybe a little limited.
EJ, give me your evaluation of what you've seen from Josiah Scott.
Yeah, he's been up and down. He did have a couple of decent plays earlier in the season when Avonte Maddox went down. But I mean, like I was saying, it's like you can't trust him in man coverage on a third down against a good slot receiver. And that's what they were trying to do against Dallas, where he was matched up against CeeDee Lamb, whether it was man or zone, whether it's quarters, like a match zone. He was clearly overmatched. And I mean, I think the Cowboys made it pretty obvious. They were picking on him. They were like, we're going to keep targeting this guy.
Yep.
And, I do think that, like, if CJ Gardner-Johnson is back and they can sort of pinpoint a couple of plays here and there, money downs, high stakes situations where it's like, we're going to drop CJ down and he's going to cover the slot. Josiah is going to be more of a deep half or deep third type of player. He can do that. I think that you can win with Josiah back there. I mean, they literally have done that at points this season, but I think it's when you have Reed and Josiah now, it's like you're starting to compensate for a lot of different guys. And there's only so much that you can expect Darius Slay and James Bradbury to kind of, insulate those guys with. So, I mean, you saw it on the 3rd and 30, Josiah's in a tough alignment, I would say, like they're disguising the coverage. They're trying to, rotate the safeties, and Josiah's got to line up in the nickel 10 yards off, and he's got to get, he's deep half. He's got to run 20, 30 yards, at the snap. Like that's a tough ask for a guy like him. But I think if you don't have to ask him to do those tough jobs, if you've got all your other guys, I think you can win with them. But yeah, I do think that until CJ's back, that's going to be a weak point of the Eagles defense.
What's your best guess of how they'll go about this thing without Lane on Sunday? Do you think it's just going to be Driscoll plug in, or do you think there could be real movement with Mailata going to the right, Dillard to the left?
I think Driscoll has played well enough to at least get the first stab at this thing. I think he, when we've seen him I think he actually plays better at tackle than he does at guard. I think that he's decent at both. And I think that, again, I think he's earned the first stab at it. I think that, Mailata also, like, obviously they've done that in the past where they've moved Mailata to the right and put Dillard at left tackle. But I think Mailata's at a point in his career now where he's a little bit more entrenched on that left side, and he's got a little bit more status. I think that it's like, that's a tough ask for your starting left tackle to move over. Now, Mailata's the type of guy who will do it because, he's a team guy and he's a good guy. But, I do think that there's a little bit of, just you don't want to move him around too much, just because of, again, his status on the team. So I think you'll see Driscoll there at right tackle first. I think that, the Eagles won't tell you that because, again, they want, the Saints to have to prepare for multiple different outcomes. But, yeah, for now, I think Driscoll's probably the guy at right tackle. But, if he struggles, they have the option to move Mailata over and put Dillard in there.
I just don't like the fact that, going forward, that we forget that this is the number one team in the NFL, and there's a lot of naysayers at this point saying we're still that good of a team, even with Jalen not being there. This offense will be fine, but do you keep Driscoll there, or do you move Mailata and bring in Dillard?
Yeah, if it were me, I probably would. I think I would put Driscoll there. But I also do. I understand people who talk about like the best five. And I think the Eagles' best five is Dillard at left with Mailata at right. I think if it were like a 4 or 5 game stretch where Lane was out, I probably would be more willing to move Mailata at that point. If Lane was just out for the season, I think, at that point you get your best five on the field and you go. But if we're talking 2 games and really 1 game with real stakes with it, I think, you see if Driscoll can get you by. And then you go from there with Lane back whenever he's able to get back.
Well, that brings me to this. If we played Hurts, then I think they would move Mailata. But since it's just, that's to me that's kind of because I mean I Minshew should get that same type of urgency also. So that's why I say I would make that move for 2 games. I would make that move.
Yeah, it's fair. I mean, especially because like this game, they need this game. If they don't get this one now, it's you got everybody playing against the Giants, and I think they really want to. I mean, obviously they get the first round bye, but I think they want to give this team 2 weeks off. They have so many lingering injuries. Even like Miles missed practice yesterday with a knee. AJ Brown was limited with a knee. They need these guys. I think they really do. They want to give these guys a couple weeks, and I think taking care of business against the Saints is important. So, I mean, I hear what you're saying. I just think that. Again, it's like we're talking about these 2 weeks that you just kind of got to get through these next 2 games. You have a week off. So, yeah, I think it will be Driscoll there.
Do you think it's somewhat of a telling tale? And I agree with all of your assessments in terms of what they might do in terms of structuring the offensive line. But is that a telling tale on Andre Dillard, a first-round pick, that he wouldn't even be considered in part of this revamped equation?
Yeah, I think it's just you have to know the personality behind it, and I think I think whatever it is with him, he just can't play on that right side. I think with some guys they talk about whether it's mentality or whether it's really just like nature. It's like they always like we've talked to Stoutland about it a bunch, and Stoutland always talks and says like, listen, like it's easier for some guys than others. For Mailata, I mean, he'd never played football before. He didn't care. You put him on right, you put him on left. He was perfectly fine on both. Other guys, they struggle with it. So, I mean, I think I think he is a starting quality left tackle. And I think that he is just kind of inflexible when it comes to being able to move from one side to the other. Now, like even playing guard, like this is the first year that he's ever really been asked to play right or left guard, and this was, it seemed like he did all right in those situations. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm sure he's worked on playing right behind the scenes. I haven't seen him play right. Like I didn't see him play much right tackle, if any, during training camp.
Very not impressed.
Sure, yeah, he's he's a left side offensive lineman. I think just and whatever you want to say about that. I mean, I think they drafted him to be the left tackle heir apparent, so it didn't probably come up that he couldn't play on the right side. But now on the role that he's in as a backup tackle, your number 3 tackle, the first guy off the bench, he has to be able to swing, and that's not something Dillard can do right now. So I do think it says something about him in the role he's currently in. But I think that it's one of those things where if Mailata wasn't playing so well, I think Andre Dillard would be at left tackle right now. I think he'd be playing pretty well. Yep. I mean, you look at some of these other young left tackles in the league, like Andrew Thomas is a guy who comes to mind. Like, not all these guys, they come out of the gate. They don't all come out of the gate playing really well. Dillard struggled as a rookie, but he hasn't really gotten that extended opportunity. I always say that he made all the reporters look kind of bad because, like, during training camp, he was getting beat like a drum, but then he went in the games and he looked fine. And it was like, I felt bad because I was killing him. I was saying, oh man, he gets beat every day, and then he goes in the game and he plays well. So I think he's figured a lot of this stuff out, kind of like, under the surface. And if he does ever have to play left tackle, I think he'd be passable to good. But yeah, he's not a swing tackle for whatever reason.
EJ Sanders, 2 questions. Should there be concern with the knee? 1, and are you worried generally about sort of his mental state with the 2 turnovers, which we haven't seen all year from him? And he's had such a great year, but the last 2 have not necessarily been his finest moments.
Yeah, with the knee, I think today will be really indicative on that. I mean, they try to get these guys a day off if they can, even if it's not major. It's the type of thing. Like I think we'll know more after today, because today is like a real practice. Like yesterday was a walkthrough. I think they're probably just trying to get him a day. But if he's not practicing today, then yeah, I think it's something that we'll definitely ask Nick about on Friday and keep an eye on. As far as the turnovers, I mean that fumble against the Cowboys, like there's no excusing it. It's like that's the exact type of thing he hasn't been doing this season. I mean, you're in tight quarters. There's not a whole lot of yardage to gain, and you're loose with the ball. That's like stuff that we saw with him, his first few years that he hasn't done this year. I wouldn't sound the alarm quite yet, but yeah, I mean I think that Miles not fumbling the first 14 games of the season wasn't really totally characteristic for him. And I also think that Miles fumbling twice in 2 games is also a little uncharacteristic. So I think he probably got him out of his system. You're glad he got him out of his system, before the playoffs. And yeah, I mean, it's definitely something that, I mean, like we always say, like when we're in the auditorium, they've got these big ball security, posters where it's like showing you like, all the clasp hand, they call it the eagle claw. I think it's called the bear claw, all these things that these guys have to work on. I'm sure that they'll drill it a little bit more in practice. I'm sure Nick will point to those posters a few more times this week. And yeah, I think that Miles, I mean, I think he responded the way you want to see a player respond to that, at least in the very beginning, which is like, clearly hard on himself, took accountability to it, and his teammates, picked him up. I think that, it's reasonable to think he'll respond from that.
At the end of the day, man, we're going to win this game. I'm confident in it, man. And I hear people talking about Gannon and how he's, faced the last couple of weeks. I think Gannon will be fine. What's your take on Gannon and his play calling, especially when he has now Josiah Scott in the mix? He has young guys, in the mix, that he has a coach. How do you think he approaches? Is he going to be aggressive this game or non-aggressive run blitz? What do you think he's going to do?
Well, I think that, this is kind of like what it's always like with Gannon, where it's kind of like a week by week thing. I think you can't throw out, the first 14, 15 weeks of the season because, Dak Prescott, made a bunch of really great throws. Now, listen, I just said
and runs.
Right. Yeah.
He had ran all year.
Those third down runs. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, I just said earlier that like this Cowboys matchup would concern me because of that in the playoffs. I think, but at the same time, like, the Eagles were a 3rd and 30, pass breakup, or, they were 1 or 2 plays away from winning that game still, like just because, Dallas put up a lot of points, but sometimes in the playoffs, you got to win a shootout. So, I mean, for the most part, I think that Gannon, the scheme makes sense and matches up well against a lot of the teams in the NFC. Again, that Cowboys matchup is the one that I still think the Eagles might need to put up 35, 40 points to win the game. But, that's the playoffs. That's the NFL. Sometimes, some weeks you're not going to get, your defense giving up 17 points. So I think there's been a lot of good with Gannon's scheme this year. Obviously, the Eagles have, generated a ton of pressure. James Bradbury and Darius Slay playing at a high level. And like the one thing about the Cowboys game that's interesting to me is like, all year Gannon had been really, really good in those known pass situations, like those early down situations where he was kind of shaky, and Linval Joseph and Ndamukong Suh have helped a lot with that, especially Linval. Linval's been really big for them. But that early down stuff is what he struggled with. Those known pass, 3rd and 5, 3rd and 8, he was rock solid on those, getting creative with his calls, getting them off the field a lot of the time. But, with the Cowboys, it was like the inverse. Like they were really, really good.
He played the perfect game, man. Dak Prescott played the perfect game.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? People not taking that into consideration. Is he going to be able to play the perfect game again the next time they play him? He played the perfect. What was he? Wasn't he like
19 for 19 after that pick? Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. 19 for 19. Man, come on, man. You think he's going to do that again? No.
Yeah, one of our colleagues, Ben Fennell, his expression is that those guys are millionaires too, right? Like, the other team's got some good players too. So, yeah, I hear you there. I mean, that's a good point. It's well taken. So yeah, I don't think that I wouldn't say that this Cowboys performance was like, the sounding of the alarm. Like, do I think that Kirk Cousins is going to do that to the Eagles defense? No. Do I think Brock Purdy is going to do that to the Eagles defense? No. San Francisco gives me concerns for other reasons, but again, we're talking about high leverage, conference championship, divisional round. These games are supposed to be hard. These games aren't supposed to be, cakewalks. And I think that, Eagles fans have enjoyed a lot of those cakewalks this year. I mean, as a reporter, there have been a lot of fourth quarters where my game story is already typed up and I'm just sitting there, watching the backups play. That's not how it's going to be in January. So, I think, I think Hassan Reddick said it, that Cowboys game was good for them, because they need to get some of those games out of their system, kind of work through the kinks in those situations. So, yeah, I wouldn't say like anything. Listen, they're still, in the driver's seat. They're still in a really good position for sure.
EJ, for as good as this defense has been across the board, generating turnovers, sacks, so on and so forth, do you think there are a lot of times when Gannon respects an opponent too much with the way he schemes?
I think that is the scheme. It's like, it's that hits principle. It's like, we're going to give you space. You can complete the underneath stuff. We're going to rally to the ball. We're going to tackle. We're going to try and force turnovers. And yeah, I think that sometimes you want to see him be a little bit more aggressive with, a quarterback that, maybe you can be aggressive against. But yeah, I think, with the Saints this week, I think it'll be interesting to see if he challenges Andy Dalton. That's the type of guy who you can challenge. I think that you don't need to be, in off coverage every single play against the Saints offense. There's not a whole lot of guys who can burn you. So I think it'll be interesting to see, but yeah, for the most part, I think that's the way the scheme is. I know some people are really not fans of it, and I understand it. We've grown accustomed to in the city really aggressive defensive coordinators who call a lot of blitzes and, press man coverage. Jim Schwartz, play the run on the way to the quarterback, that penetrating front. So this is definitely a different type of defense than I think Eagles fans are used to. It's not always the most aesthetically pleasing, but again, I mean, they've been successful with it this year.
EJ, would you do anything differently with Quez? We've seen a couple things, certainly the Cowboys game, and
trade him.
I'm being kind. There are moments where he could is a little soft. What do you do to counterbalance that with him and still keep him effective?
Well, it's not that complicated. I mean, Quez Watkins had 5 targets? 2 of them were interceptions and 1 catch.
Yep.
I don't think Quez Watkins needs 5 targets. You got Dallas Goedert, you got AJ Brown, and Devontae Smith. So it's like, what do? You target those really, really good guys, And it's like, listen, like I don't want to bury Quez too much. He's got a role in the offense. he's the type of guy that safeties have to respect over the top. He's got game-breaking speed. But like the way that the role he had at the beginning of the season, where he wasn't always getting a lot, he won games without getting thrown the ball. I think that's his role. It's like if the coverage dictates that you're going to be wide open 50 yards downfield, we're going to throw you the ball. You're going to walk into the end zone. You're going to, hit your helmet on the goalpost, right? Like he's going to have one of those every couple games. But yeah, I think that Jalen had done it a couple of times, and then Gardner did it a couple of times where it's like, the picture's not really clear. It's kind of a 50-50 ball. And in the Eagles offense, those guys get spoiled a little bit because, you can throw those 50-50 balls to A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. They'll make them 90-10. They'll make them 100-0 sometimes, especially the way Devontae's been high pointing the ball. And obviously A.J. is just a freak. Those guys win those, contested catches a lot. But you don't want to make a living off of those throws, especially to Quez Watkins. It's like he's not exactly the most physical at the catch point. And I think that's really the teaching point from that Cowboys game is like, if Quez has a defender in the vicinity, like that's not his role, I mean, you have Dallas Goedert come back and he just went a really long stretch in that game without getting a target. So how do you fix it? You make sure you get your superstars the ball more often, because I don't think that Quez Watkins needs many games when he's getting 5 targets, especially on underneath stuff like that. Again, if he's wide open down the field, that's his role. That's what he's there for. But, other than that, yeah, I think that, letting Nick's talked about how the coverage dictated that's where the ball went. Well, I mean, I feel like that's just one of those things. It's like, you can't be throwing contested balls to Quez Watkins, 4 or 5 times a game. It's just not a winning formula.
Yeah,
so why do you think they don't
put Pascal in?
Yeah, why don't they integrate Pascal more? I mean, he only has 15 catches.
I'm with you, and especially because he's the type of guy that is a tendency breaker because he does all the dirty work. Quez is more of that deep threat. When you have Pascal in the field, I mean, that's almost like a run indicator. So that's like a tendency breaker almost.
Yeah.
It's like you have that guy on the field. People go, oh, they got Pascal and they're going to run the ball. But I mean, listen, I think both of those guys, no matter who you have on the field, the ball just shouldn't be making its way to those guys as often as it has been. I mean, it's tough to keep A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and Dallas Goedert sort of like at the target numbers that they need. Even if you throw the ball 45 times a game, it's like you could throw 80 to 90% of those passes to those 3 guys, and you would still probably not have one of those guys who doesn't have, 8 or 9 targets like they deserve. So, I feel like the offense just needs to kind of keep going through the guys that, are the real difference makers like it did earlier in the season. I think that they've gotten a little bit of, ahead of their skis with these Quez Watkins targets.
We thought almost the whole time without even asking. What were your impressions of Minshew and the way he played?
I thought he was kind of jittery in the first half. I think he played reasonably well for sure. I think he played about as well as you can expect a backup to play. I thought, he wasn't stepping into a lot of his throws in the first half. At the very end of the first half, I remember, he had basically 3 straight drops where he drops, he sort of drifts into Micah Parsons' rush lane and he throws it away. And it's like, these are basically just wasted plays. So, listen, they put up 34 points. He played pretty well, but I even think that there was some room for improvement. There's some things that I think he'll probably be a little bit more comfortable doing in his second start. You didn't see him step up in the pocket very often. You didn't see him, wanting to kind of maneuver. Now, a little bit of that is you get so used to watching Jalen, who's Jalen will step up in the pocket because he knows he can get out whenever he wants. I think Minshew's a little bit more, apprehensive to get trapped in there because he's not as, not as fleet foot as Jalen, getting out of those situations. But I thought he played pretty well. I definitely think, he showed you that you can win one of the next 2 with him if you need to, if Jalen's not going to be back. So, yeah, no, I thought he played well. I think that there was definitely some room for improvement, but again, encouraging for the most part.
All right. Do they win on Sunday?
Yeah, I'm going to pick them to win. I think, like I said, I think the Saints offense is kind of one of these drag it out, try and make the game ugly. And their defense is, they've got some talent and they're a well-coached group for sure. But I mean, the Eagles have always had talent advantages throughout the season. They're the most talented team in football. I would feel pretty comfortable saying. And, in a situation where they need the win, I know that some of the injuries are going to be, worth watching. How Driscoll plays, how Reed Blankenship and Josiah Scott play. But this particular week, I think they should be able to get it done. I think that they'll win this game. They'll kind of coast through the Giants game, go into that first round bye, and then it'll be time for the playoffs. It'll be, those games will start having some real stakes. It'll be exciting. So
amazing.
I think they pull this one out.
Okay, EJ, great man. I appreciate your time. Always
Appreciate
good catching
you
up
guys.
with you,
Yeah.
man.
Appreciate
Happy
it,
New Year. Happy New Year to you, bro.
Check out EJ's
I got a
work.
couple resolutions I need to get started on.
Oh, other than staying away from Derek, what's number one? I mean, was that my out loud voice? I'm sorry.
I got to stay away from them sweets, though.
I hear you. Well, the hardest time is the holidays, man. There's cookies everywhere all the time.
I told my wife I'm gonna get through these next 3 days, and then I'll start taking care of it in the new year.
That's the move. Yeah, just get a couple. You got a couple more days. You
gotta get rid of the cookies. Yeah. Yes. Then once the cookies are gone, I can start. So.
I hear you. I hear you. All right, EJ. Check out EJ's work. You can follow him on Twitter at EJSmith94, and of course, Inquirer.com. EJ, we appreciate it, man. Thanks for coming.
Appreciate you guys, bro. Take care,
man. Take care. Happy New Year. That is EJ Smith. Let's get a timeout here, guys. Let's come back and we're gonna do our comp. We're gonna compare 17 to 22. And we always do. It's more fun, Derek. Let's face it. Our audience likes it when when Barrett and I pick on you. Would they like it?
And my wife says it's me. See, I'm glad you guys are doing this so she can see what's really going on here.
I told Trish not to watch when I said that. She knew not to be on.
Well, Derek, what are you talking about? I don't understand what you're saying.
In his best Eddie Haskell. Go ahead.
Right. It's well done. It's well done by Barrett.
It's so wrong on so many levels.
I know. It's not right. All right. So we come back. I'm going to bounce it off of you guys. We'll do the comp between the 17 team that won it and this team. And we'll see, pound for pound, who has more talent on paper. All right. We'll do that.
Forgive me if I ever offended you, Derek. Sorry.
You look very lovely today, Mr. Gunn.
To both of you.
Getting deep. Get the waiters out. All right. Derek Gunn, Barrett Brooks, Rob Ellis. We're Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Don't go anywhere. Let me tell you about Pro Action Restoration. Yeah, Pro Action Restoration is the place that you call, reach out to when your home, a business you may own, a property you may own, goes through the inconvenience of water, fire, smoke, mold damage, whatever the case may be. Pro Action Restoration is on call 24 hours, 7 days a week to assist. I've experienced it myself. I had a water issue at my parents' house. I called them on a Saturday. They got right out. They fixed it. The crew was unbelievable, and the price was right. I mean, every box was checked off. They are licensed, bonded, fully insured, and they've been serving the tri-state area for more than 2 decades. Pro Action will work in conjunction with your insurance company. Again, it could be any of the above: water, fire, smoke, mold damage, you name it, they can handle it. Give them a call, 610-623-3760, 610-623-3760, or online at proactionrestoration.com. That's proactionrestoration.com.
Go for the beers, go for the cheers, go for the hit and the hits, go for the scene, go for the screens, go for the gallery, go for the win. Go to Ocean.
At Pond Lehocky, we've recovered billions of dollars for our clients, and we're confident we can do the same for you. With over 250 years of combined courtroom experience, we've helped over 100,000 injured clients obtain some of the largest settlements in Pennsylvania. One conversation is all it takes to help you and your family get back on track. If you've been injured in an accident, give Pond Lehocky a call.
Number 1, Jeff D'Ambrosio. Destination Downingtown is rolling back prices for a December to remember. For a limited time, you can own, not lease, brand new 2023 Jeep Wranglers for only $30,995 or $339 per month. New Ram starting at only $30,995 or new Ram 1500 Bighorn Crew Cabs $189 per month. Zero down can deliver. Get the price you want, the selection you need, and the VIP treatment you deserve. Jeff D'Ambrosio, Destination Downingtown, Big Finish Sales Event.
We all know that taxes are just part of life. It's true during our working years, but also in retirement. But what you might not know is up to 85% of your Social Security benefits might be taxed. Our team at Thrive Financial has helped retire thousands of people across the Delaware Valley by asking questions they never knew they needed to ask. including how their Social Security benefits might be taxed. It's time to be proactive on taxes. Get your Thrive Retirement Tax Playbook today.
Post-game show with Seth Joyner.
I knew that they had a running game.
Derek Gunn.
He has put in the effort.
Devin Caney.
Had we not won the Super Bowl, what would we be saying?
And Mike Missinelli.
Well, you know who Philly is.
Post-game, now streaming on the 6ABC family of apps.
What's up, everybody? Thanks for hanging out with us. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Derek Gunn, Barrett Brooks, Rob Ellis, hanging out with you. 3 hours of power each and every day. So I thought, it'd be kind of fun to do a little comp since we're getting really close to the playoffs, just 2 regular season games left. To look back at the 2017 Eagles and this 2022 Eagles. Yeah, see which team's better on paper. We know what 17 did. We know how clutch they came up. We know they made every play they had to make in that Super Bowl, and it was, euphoria and joyous when they won. But, it was a little bit more of an up and down road, and, didn't win as many games as this team is probably going to win. Had an injury to a quarterback, which usually is the death knell for a team. Now, the Eagles are dealing with an injury to a quarterback, but it doesn't appear to be as severe. So there's a lot of comparisons that can be made, and there's some, real differences on this team. So let's run through it. You guys want to start on the offensive side of the ball or the defensive side of the ball?
It doesn't matter to me, man.
Yeah, let's start on offense.
Offense. All right.
Yeah.
So quarterback. Now, it was Wentz through 13 games, and then it was Nick Foles to close the regular season and lead them through the postseason. Now, when he first took over, wasn't necessarily pretty. Giants, Raiders, I believe, weren't all that great of performances. And even the first game, the divisional round game against Atlanta, Nick didn't play great, but they survived, did the team. So let's start with the combo of Wentz and Foles versus Jalen. I'm not going to throw Minshew into this mix just because he played a game. So now keep in mind, Foles played about as well as you could play in the NFC Championship and Super Bowl, and Carson was playing at an MVP level up until the injury. So you had both guys playing at a really high level when the stakes were their highest in 17. Hurts was on pace for the MVP in a lot of people's opinions until maybe he went down with this injury, and then he might get nudged out by Mahomes. So pretty close because both are MVP caliber.
I like. Man, it's hard to say, because I look at Carson Wentz with a bias. And I shouldn't, because he didn't have that bias in 2017 to start the season off. He was a magician that year. He did some incredible stuff, and
especially escaping.
Exactly. So he from that aspect, you look at Carson, but just from even then, you just didn't see him as a leader on the team. You didn't see him as a guy that the guys really rallied around. Was still like, all right, we didn't really start jumping on the bandwagon of the offense and how good they were until after that San Diego game.
Right.
And, Chargers, when they had LeGarrette Blount ran that like 60-something yard run. And that's when the team really turned the tide and like, look, this offense could be cool if you run the ball legitly. And even then, it was more so, Carson was doing his thing, but we were beating teams, but we were only beating teams like by 5 points. And, we beat the 49ers, just barely beat them. We were just barely beating teams. With Jalen's been blowing teams out. He's mastered the offense and made it really hard to stop him, man. So I want to go with Carson, but I have that bias about him. But then I still look at it like Jalen Hurts is a leader. How he's run this offense, and even though we still haven't finished anything yet, I think that Hurts just barely ekes him out as far as being the leader of the team.
Okay. You're going to lean to Hurts. All right.
Yep.
How about you, Gunner, a quarterback?
In 17, Wentz threw for just under 3,300 yards. He had 33 touchdowns in all
his numbers were insane before he went down.
And that year, for a guy who's 6'5", 6'6", the wow factor with Wentz was his ability to escape and duck under people who we thought were going to sack him in any given moment, and he'd pop up and make a big play. I mean, that year for Wentz was lightning in a bottle. And then you look at how he gets hurt in that Rams game, and Nick Foles comes in, and it doesn't fall apart. It's hard because Jalen is more of that dual threat, his ability to kill you with his legs as well as his arm. And Barrett's right. You look at the numbers that Jalen's put up, but 17, the Eagles played a tougher schedule than what they played this year. Okay. And Barrett's right. I have this disdain for Wentz because of what we saw of him his last 2 years in Philadelphia.
You can't look at him objectively.
I know, in Indianapolis and Washington, but I have to lean towards Wentz because what he did was magical in a lot of ways in 17.
Look, I can't disagree with what you guys are saying, right? But I'm going to disagree in this sense. Wentz was playing at an insane level. I'm with you. Like I feel dirty saying this because I need a shower. I need a shower. All right, I'm with you. I can't stand him now. So it really ended poorly for me. And it's not even so much what happened in Indianapolis and Washington. I just don't like the way he took his ball and ran home because he felt threatened here. And it was just, and I think there's a phoniness to him too. But anyway, I can't take away from what the guy was doing, man. And then here's the thing. The guy who picked up the baton, you're not going to play. I mean, you can't play better than he played in the Super Bowl.
No,
Nick, Nick. So, I have to, as we do this, and it's a little bit unfair to Jalen because he hasn't had the opportunity to finish the deal. Right. So admittedly, I'm telling you, this is a little bit unfair. I'm going to lean towards 17, but that could change very easily. Very easily.
If we have this conversation 3 or 4 weeks from now.
Yeah, we have this conversation February, whenever what's the Super Bowl? The third week of February.
12th, I think it's the 12th.
Yeah, this changes. We're sitting here February 19th, and it changes completely. But right now, I will lean towards the quarterback crew, the duo, if you will. All right, so let's move on to the running backs. So the running backs in 17, LeGarrette Blount, 766 yards. And then you work Jay Ajayi in there, who played very well for them. He gave them a nice little boost, man. And, for the early part of the season, they had Darren Sproles who they would work into things, occasionally from an offensive perspective. He wasn't just a return man. But, that's kind of your running attack that you had that season. That compared to 2022, where are you guys at? Gunner, I'll start with you on that one.
Oh, I definitely have to say 17. You had the big battering ram at LeGarrette Blount. They brought in Jay Ajayi, who was also a tough runner between the tackles. Then you had that rookie, Corey Clement, who had a phenomenal rookie year. And then Darren Sproles was your Swiss Army knife, in terms of what they did with him in the slot, out of the backfield. I thought the depth was better and the versatility was better than what you have right now. For whatever reason, they don't use Boston Scott, didn't use him much until the latter half of last year, still only use him sporadically now. I will say definitely 17 for me, hands down in that regard.
How about you, Big?
I'm going to go with 17 also just because they don't like to use Boston Scott. They don't like to use their second team, third team backs, Kenneth Gainwell has shown that he's gotten a lot better. They still don't use him a lot. So I'm going to go with them because, LeGarrette Blount was just that dude, man. And Corey Clement just showed the versatility to do anything you asked him to do, man. He had 100 yards in the Super Bowl, 100 yards receiving in the Super Bowl.
Yep.
Even Kenyon Barner would go out there and spell.
That's right. Yeah, I should have given Corey Clement his due. Yep.
So in that aspect, I have to go with 17 with that.
Yeah, it feels like there's more diversity to 17. I would say that Miles is a better straight up feature back than any of those three. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he's shown you that he can be the 1,000-yard runner this year for sure. And I'm trying not to let anything that happened the last 2 weeks cloud the way I'm looking at Miles, in fairness, because I think he's had an awesome year. I'd probably go with Miles, honestly. He doesn't have quite the ability to be the battering ram and do the other things, but I still think, and I think he's going to have a big game on Sunday. I'm going to go running back, so I'm going to go 2022.
Okay. He's more explosive than any of those backs we're talking about right now. More explosive.
No
he's
doubt.
He's more of the total package.
Yep.
You know, if there's not one of those backs that's better than he is.
Yeah. Yep.
But as a total, they all fit what he is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, that's fair. All right, let's go receivers. I'm going to throw 3 at you here for 17. Jeffrey, Smith, Aguilar. Now, Jeffrey had 57 catches, 789 yards, 9 touchdowns. It's a really good year. Aguilar, 62 catches, 768 yards, 8 touchdowns. He did have a rushing touchdown as well. Torrey Smith, 36 catches, 430 yards, 2 touchdowns. So those 3, take them.
I mean, you're not going to put in Mac Hollins and Sheldon Gibson? I mean, I'll dare you not. I dare you not.
How about the career Mac Hollins has carved out? I mean,
and with the Raiders, unbelievable.
Incredible. Dolphins and then the Raiders.
Yeah.
Incredible. Versus AJ, Devontae, fill in your third there. This is a landslide as far as I'm concerned, but you guys have at it. Barrett, you got first crack.
There's no way we could even compare them, man.
Yeah.
Even with Alshon's not even better than any of those 2 that we have right now.
Not even close.
It's not close at all. Even our backups, it looks as though our backups were even better than even the stars we had. We had Marcus Johnson, Sheldon Gibson, Mac Hollins, Nelson Aguilar. Nelson Aguilar was our number 2. You know what I mean? And Alshon was our number 1.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's even a comparison on how good they are. So you got to go with 22.
Derek?
Yeah, when you look at Aguilar, the combination of Aguilar and Alshon, they both had over 750 yards worth of receptions, 17 touchdown catches between them. But the versatility and the strength of this receiving crew here, second to none compared to that receiving crew in 2017. I mean, you have 2,000-yard receivers. They're acrobatic, great route runners. You got one who's ultra physical, another one who's like the rubber band man, makes all these catches and takes all these hits and keeps popping up. He's like that Weeble Wobble. You knock him down, but he keeps bouncing up. I don't think it's even close in terms of of the 22 compared to 17. I'm taking 22 all day.
Yeah, this is a destruction. I mean, come on, it's not even close. AJ Brown is both guys might be in the Hall of Fame at some point. Really, forget it. All right, so
hold on, man. What is wrong with John Dickerson?
No,
does Josiah Anderson need to be added to the 2000s? Ask Alshon.
That's a great line. Man. By the way, if you're going to be Alshon and you're going to leak everything to her, you got to be smarter about it. It was so obvious, man. Yeah. It was so obvious. All right, so receivers, we're all in agreement. That's not even close.
Yeah.
All right, offensive line. I'm sorry, tight ends. You go Ertz, Selleck versus Dallas and Stoll / look, I love Dallas. This is 2017 all day as far as I'm concerned.
It's not even close either. That's we talk about the receiver not close. Well, tight end is not close either.
Yeah.
Say what you want to say, but Zach Ertz
Ertz and Selleck combined, Gunner.
My problem with Ertz was, as much as I love him and he was a good friend of mine, I still love him. You touch his shoelaces, he was fall down. That dude couldn't get yards after the catch to save your life.
Caught a lot of balls, man.
Except for the one time.
Yes, he did. Yes.
Except for the one time we needed him to, he got yak yards. The one time we really needed him to.
Okay, you said one time. Come on, man.
And you're right. In Ocean's Occam's razors, I don't know how you pronounce it. Sorry, but he throws Burton in there. That's fair. Burton should be in there.
That's right.
That's
Burton
right.
That's very fair,
also.
and that's a great point. But I will say this:
go ahead. I'm sorry.
For all the knocks on Ertz, he catches the 4th and 5, which you had to have.
Yeah.
Had to have, because Brady gets the ball back, it's over. Okay.
Yep.
And he catches the game-winning touchdown.
Yep.
Like, I couldn't believe the
on his back.
Yep.
That catch, not the touchdown, but the one to even keep the sticks moving, the 4th and 5.
Play.
I couldn't believe
and
he
he's
caught
reaching.
that, man.
Like, he just got great play by Foles too, because he had to do right in his face, and he kind of sidestepped him, sidearmed. He got just enough to get past the stick. It was a really good play. It really was.
You look at Selleck. Selleck missed one game his entire career in the regular season when that man took hellacious shots. I mean, shots that knock people out. I can't tell you how many times I'm in a stadium and you hear ooh and ah when it came to getting Selleck getting hit, and he would bounce up and give that first down signal. You know how demoralizing that is for a defender when you lay the perfect shot on somebody, knock them down, and then they stand up over you going first down. You're like, man, what is this dude made of?
Yeah.
Now, I was always going to pick the 17 crew, but I don't think it's that. When you look at Goddard, that dude's like a Sherman tank. I mean, he's in terms of just total toughness, I think he's right there with the George Kittle. You don't just bring him down with one tackle. That's the one thing that he did. He does much better than Ertz did, getting those yards after the catch. But in terms of overall ability and productivity, I got to go with the 17 crew.
Okay. Let's go now to the offensive line. So your O-line consisted of, and now some of this is a little bit unfair because you have some holdovers. Okay, keep in mind. But you had Peters who went down, and then it was Big V. Big V takes over at left tackle. Okay, he played 10 games. Big V that season. Your left guard is Wisniewski. Wisniewski started 11 games that year because remember it was kind of back and forth who was going to be the starting left guard.
Yep.
Kelsey's still the center. Brandon Brooks, all 16 games at right guard, and Lane is at right tackle. So your holdovers are Lane and Kelsey. So it's you have to wash those two, even because I still think they're both playing at a really high level. It's not like you're saying, "Oh my God, Kelsey and Lane at this point are falling off a cliff." They're not. They're still studs. So if you wash those two, you still got
to say 2022. It's got to be 2022. Malata is because I think at this point Malata's potential, and when you look at the guard position, Wisniewski, I mean that's the biggest one, Wisniewski. You know what I'm saying? You got Dickerson, first-time Pro Bowler, Mauler, great player, and then the other side you got Seumalo.
But you had Brandon Brooks, who was the best right guard in the game.
He was really good.
That dude was, when he was healthy, he was the best right guard in the game. Number one. Number two,
the best.
The best. Number two, you're filling Big V for a future Hall of Famer. I mean, Big V parlayed that season into a big contract.
$50 million, 10 years.
Yeah, man. I mean, he wasn't bad over there. He wasn't bad over there. I don't think it's that easy. Wow. The only three different players.
You're right. And he also could swing from left to right. Dillard can't swing from left to right.
Mr. Taft, the better Brooks, D-Gun.
Forget you, man. Forget you.
Oh, I don't know, man. That's a push, dude. I honestly,
it's close. Yeah,
it really is. Because if you take away Kelsey and Lane Johnson and just compare the other three, I think it's a push. To be honest,
it might be a push.
I can't pick
because I'm just looking at Wisniewski, but you can't take JP out of the equation. JP is a Hall of Famer.
Yeah,
man. He just wasn't there at the time. Yeah.
I'm going push.
You got to go push on that. Yeah, I got to go push too because the Hall of Famer, you can't even. I mean, at this point, Malata can't even sniff his jock right now. So
I mean, because Big V played it as well, if not better than Malata. I mean, seriously,
he was good.
We ain't gonna take it that far now.
Well, no props. I think he played better than I thought he was going to play.
He did.
He played consistent. They still had to hide him though. They still, sent protection that way. They would slide to him.
But he held his own in that Super Bowl, though. He held his own, bro.
Yeah,
he held his own against a very good Patriots defense.
I ain't taking.
Yeah, man.
I ain't taking it from him. He balled out. But he's not playing better than Jordan Mailata right now. But we're not comparing Jordan Mailata to when I'm comparing him to Jason Peters.
Okay, but you said also the key words were you said Mailata is still showing potential.
Yep.
See, so he's still developing.
Yep.
So I said Big V was ahead of the curve in that regard when we compare then to now.
Yep.
So that's a push to me, man. I can't pick.
I think it's fair. A toss up. All right, let's go defense here. And again, we're gonna run into the same situation where there are a couple holdovers. Okay, Fletcher Cox is a holdover. Brandon Graham is a holdover. But let's run through the defensive line. You had Vinny Curry on one end. He had 3 sacks that season. No forced fumbles. You had Timmy Jernigan at defensive tackle, 2.5 sacks. You had Fletcher Cox, who had 5.5 sacks. You had Brandon Graham, who had 9.5 sacks. So essentially, that was your defensive line, rotating in. And you also have to account for the guys that were rotating in, right? And there were some really good players rotating in and out of there, namely Chris Long. Chris Long, who had, won a Super Bowl the previous year with the Patriots. You would work him into the equation. Derek Barnett, who had an okay year for his rookie year. He wasn't bad. Right. So he was involved in the mix there, just to name others, among others. So, Barrett, I'll start with you. Do you go 17, or do you go an Eagles defensive line that has Sweat, that has Reddick, that has Fletcher Cox, that has Javon Hargraves, mixing Sue and Linval Joseph and BG, among others?
I gotta go with 22 because you're the guys you had coming in. Derek Martin, first rounder, couldn't keep himself out of bad position, but he was still on that play that the sack fumble and recovered the fumble in the Super Bowl. Then you have Stephen Means was the backup, Elijah Qualls, Destiny Vea. Bo Allen was all right.
Bo Allen.
But when I look at it, I just think of Chris Long. I would say Chris Long, Brandon Graham, Fletch. And when you put that against the guys that they have right now, it's to me, it's not close because the guys they have right now consistently, Javon Hargraves has 10 sacks. Josh Sweat has 10 sacks. He has 10 sacks, double digits. Hassan Reddick, 14 sacks.
14.
You got Adama Sue. You got Jordan Davis. You got Linville Joseph. Brandon Graham is on the bench. He's coming off the bench. And Milton Williams showed me a lot this last game. I just think they're more complete, can do a lot more, and they heat up the quarterback better, man. They have world-class numbers right now. So I'm going with 22.
All right, Derek.
Yeah, I think 22 because of the depth and versatility. Brandon Graham is playing like 45% of the snaps, I think we agree Fletcher Cox is not the same guy as he was 5 seasons ago, but Fletcher Cox has played well in spurts this year. But the collection around him, Jordan Davis has been in and out. He's been injured a lot of this year. Milton Williams has been solid. Sweat is having a year of a lifetime. And Hargrave at the tackle spot has been playing phenomenal. So, yeah, I got to give it to 22 in that regard.
Yeah.
I'm going with this present day. And I didn't think I'd be saying that because that line was really good that year. They were really good.
Right. Yeah, we're kind of downplaying Timmy Jernigan's his play. He played very, very well.
Yeah.
Stopping the run, very consistent. Fletch was playing out of his mind that year.
Yeah, Fletch was prime Fletch, 5 years ago. So I think it's close, but I would, man, the sheer sack totals, I got to go with this group for sure. Yep. All right, let's go linebackers now. 17, your linebackers were Michael Kendricks, Jordan Hicks until he got hurt. It's a shame for Jordan Hicks because he was having a good year. He goes down with the injury. Nigel Bradham, who we probably don't give enough credit to. Who
yes,
played,
we don't.
Yeah, he was a nice player. He was a
he
really
was
nice player for this
very
team
smart player.
Yeah, no question about it. And for a long time, right? Played very well for this team. So that was essentially your linebacking crew. They lost Hicks, into the season, versus this team that goes TJ Edwards, that goes Kaiser White, that kind of mixes and matches with the other linebacker spot. So where are we going? We going 17? We going 22? Derek?
I'm going 7. Oh,
all right, Barrett, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm Barrett said it, but I'm going 17. Before he got hit, Jordan Hicks was that playmaker. Dude was disruptive. He could drop back and cover. Very smart inside linebacker. Nigel Bradham, you're right. When you talk to Nigel Bradham, you're thinking, okay. But when he got on the football field,
what are you trying to say, D-Gun?
I'll leave it at that.
He was a football player.
I'll leave it at that. But when he got on the football field, Nigel Bradham was a heads-up player, smart player, made a lot of the calls on that defense. Very solid football player. And Michael Kendricks was in his heyday, one of the fastest linebackers in the game, tackling machine. Explosive, could cover. He could do it all, So, yeah, I'm definitely going 17, the 17 crew compared to this crew.
Okay. Yeah, I would go 17 as well.
Yeah, that's kind of easy, man. Even with their backups, even though we didn't like Nathan Gary, he was still and Cal Moody was there too. Cal Moody,
a really good special teamer too.
Yeah. So Najee Good was also a solid.
That's right, Najee Good. Well, Najee, who we had on the show.
Yep.
So
we got to go 17. And not to take anything away from the way TJ Edwards played and Kaiser White have played.
Right.
But it's just those two. When you talk about the linebacking crew, it's just those two are the only ones you really take. We can't really say anything about Nakobe Dean.
No, he's just not there yet. Yeah.
Sean Bradley's a special teamer, and Ellis is a special teamer. So
See, Dan Cilio brings up an interesting point. Numbers are great, but defense. What defense did more, 17 or 22? 17 guys played like with that dog mentality. Yes, they did.
They did.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, there's no argument there. I mean, those
guys.
Different.
Pit bull mentality.
It's two guys who weren't blitz happy. Schwartz wasn't blitz happy either. They're both pretty, keep it in front of you kind of defensive coordinators, for sure.
Yep. That picket fence defense used to piss me off.
Yeah, I hear you. All right, let's go corners here, and then we'll dig into safety. So your corners,
we don't even have to go through it. We already know.
All right, Jalen Mills, Darby for your corners. Your safeties are Rodney and Malcolm. I mean, safety is an obliteration. It's not even close.
Right.
It's not close.
Well,
corner. It's this team.
Yeah. Oh, quite no question. That secondary had 11 interceptions combined in 17.
That's a big time number.
So that's not. Those are you can't overlook those numbers. Jalen Mills, you never knew what Jalen Mills was going to show up. One week Jalen would play like a Pro Bowler, and the second one was like, did he not study the game plan for this week?
Right. And then you got Patrick Robinson, man, with the play of all
really
plays.
Good. Yeah.
Really good. He resurrected his career, man.
He did.
He resurrected his career. They put him in the slot, and he balled out like he was a first round draft choice by Indianapolis.
He was. But I still, Slay, Bradbury, and Avonte Maddox. I'm taking that.
I'll take that crew. Oh yeah.
But no safety is not close with safety.
Safety's not close. No. Safety's not close.
Who are you taking safeties?
I'm taking 17.
I just want to see what you say. Yeah.
Malcolm.
By the way, this is close. As we go position by position, it's really close. I feel like you're kind of going back and forth here.
And we have to also keep considering that 17 schedule they played was a little bit more difficult than this schedule.
True. Very true. Kicker is the same, so that's a wash.
Yeah.
Punter's not even close. I'll take Dottie long ball.
Dottie long,
picking with his opposite foot over Zippos.
Yeah, no question about it.
And he was great at just pooch punt, drop one in there, inside the 10. I miss Dottie Jones.
He was a weapon, man.
Yeah,
he would flip the field all the time, man. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, he was really good. He only punted once in the Super Bowl. There was only one punt in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's crazy.
New England didn't punt. All right, so that's everything, right? Positions, right?
No,
Yeah.
I mean returners. We got to go returners, and we got to go with Sproles. 2017.
Oh, that's easy.
Sproles.
That's easy. Yeah.
And Kenyon Barner was a pretty good returner also.
Yes, he
Clement
was.
wasn't bad. Clement would return.
Yep.
It's 17 as far as returners go.
Let me ask you guys this then before we get away. Doug Peterson / Frank Reich, Nick Sirianni / Steichen.
That's where I was going to go next.
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. Oof.
Now think about that one.
I mean, they're 13-2, but
that team was 13-3.
That's really tough, man.
I
had it on my show. I had my show yesterday, and that was I had to pick between the two. I mean, it's the talent that they had and put those guys in positions to win was crazy, man. Because I mean, when you really sit down and look at it, man, Frank Reich coached his ass off, man. Being able to take Foles and create an offense around Foles from a previous time in his career.
He went back and watched Chip Kelly tape, and that's why they came up with what he did. It was awesome. It was brilliant.
He watched a previous time to see what he did to make him play successful as he did.
Yeah. And
formulated that. So Frank Reich is a monster. But then you gotta look at Steichen. Steichen took and got the keys to the car halfway through the season last year and never looked back. Yeah. He went and turned an offensive guy that wanted to pass all the time to running the rock consistently, making it to the playoffs. So that's so hard to look at. And you look at the defensive coordinator, Jim Schwartz won a Super Bowl, even though he didn't stop anybody. He had over 500 yards. And we never talk about that.
Brady had 500 yards passing in the third quarter.
Yeah, we never talk about that.
If that was Gannon, they would have had him on a stake. Like he would have carried him out. If that was the case.
Yeah, they'd have tarred and feathered him.
Oh my God!
They'd have tarred and feathered him, man.
He would not.
They'd have tarred and feathered him. There's no question about that.
What Frank Reich did with Carson Wentz that year in 2017 has never been matched in Carson Wentz's career again.
Never.
Once he left, Carson Wentz was not. Now, granted, they had the next 2 years they had a lot of injuries on the offensive line, which really, I think, really hurt Carson in a lot of ways. But what Frank Reich did with that dude from 2016 to 17 was phenomenal.
Well, bro, at the end of the day, Frank Reich, anytime Foles is in the Eagles uniform, he's great. But anytime he puts on another uniform and tries to play, it's like it's kryptonite. he just can't do anything but in the Eagles. You put them wings on a helmet, he'll ball all out. But not when he goes somewhere else.
I'm going 17.
I mean,
I mean, that's hard. It's really unfair. This one is unfair, but I'm going to go 17.
I mean, when Frank Reich had Foles in Indy and couldn't get the same productivity out of him in Indy.
Oh, you're right about that.
So you think about it. I mean, it wasn't lightning in a bottle for 1 year.
I think it's more that it's just this weird anomaly thing that Foles plays better here. It doesn't work anywhere else for him. It never has. Never has. Doesn't matter who the coach is.
Rob says taking 17.
I mean, and I will admittedly say that that's unfair to these guys. Like if they go on to win a Super Bowl,
right,
and they lose like 2 games, or maybe they lose a meaningless last game. The way that they've ripped through this regular season, if they win a Super Bowl, that's really I'd have to revisit this. Okay, but if you're asking me right now, I'm going to go 17.
Bear, who are you taking right now?
I'm gonna take 17 right now.
I think some of it, and I'm biased because it was also like Doug Philly special, like balls. There was a lot that happened in that game.
He was always going for it on fourth down.
He went out like he came out in a prize fight, was just like, all right, here we go. Whoa, like I'm swinging, man.
Yeah.
There was no,
I'm going all out.
Yeah, he wasn't like Bernard Hopkins and being a technician. Like he was just throwing haymakers the whole time.
That's tit for tat against the GOAT.
Yes,
tit for tat against the GOAT, man.
Yeah. Yeah, like I think the game plan was just basically like whatever the game plan was, but it was also if we lose, we're not going down being scared. You have to go down just going all out here. And I think there's something to be said for that.
I agree. I'll make you unanimous. I'll say I'm leaning. It's close, but I'm leaning towards 17.
Yeah, it's definitely a little bit unfair to the present day, but that it is what it is. That was fun. I think it's definitely. In the end. I didn't do a total running tally, but it's pretty close.
It is. There's no question about it. Both scenarios were phenomenal. The results have been phenomenal up to this point, comparing this team with that team. You know, there still is a ways to go to complete. And I think this is another discussion we should have wherever the Eagles end up this year.
Right.
Whether it's in the playoffs, whether it's in the Super Bowl, I think we should revisit this discussion again.
I like
when we
it.
look at the final numbers.
I like it. Yep. And we will do so. All right. So we come back, guys. Who needs to step up here? Who's maybe not playing at the same quality level that they were playing at earlier in the season? Who needs to do a better job? We'll dive into some of the Eagles stats as well. We'll do some Saints stuff as well leading into this matchup. So we'll do that. NFL talk at 2:00. Don't go anywhere. Derek Gunn, Barrett Brooks, Rob Ellis for Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. I want to tell you about Flynn Tree Services. Yes, Flynn Tree Services is an experienced, licensed, and insured Pennsylvania tree services company that will trim or remove any unwanted trees off of your property. They offer cost-effective solutions to any tree problem that you may face. So ask yourself the question, do you have any types of issues with trees on your yard or in your property? If you do, they're just a quick phone call away, and they're experts at trimming all types of trees, and they serve southeastern Pennsylvania, South Jersey, and northern Delaware. Flynn Tree Services specializes in tree removal, stump grinding, as well as tree pruning. Now, keep in mind, get storm and hurricane season right here. We get some heavy winds, crazy weather, all that kind of stuff. It's a great time right now to have your trees evaluated. You go to their Facebook or Instagram page for more information or a sampling of their work. Give Flynn Tree Services a call at 610-850-2848. That's 610-850-2848, or online at flynntreeservices.com. That's flynntreeservices.com.
Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean.
At Pond Lehocky, we've recovered billions of dollars for our clients, and we're confident we can do the same for you. With over 250 years of combined courtroom experience, we've helped over 100,000 injured clients obtain some of the largest settlements in Pennsylvania. One conversation is all it takes to help you and your family get back on track. If you've been injured in an accident, give Pond Lehocky a call.
Number 1, Jeff D'Ambrosio. Destination Downingtown is rolling back prices for a December to remember. For a limited time, you can own, not lease, brand new 2023 Jeep Wranglers for only $30,995 or $339 per month. New Rams starting at only $30,995 or new Ram 1500 Bighorn Crew Cabs $189 per month. Zero down can deliver. Get the price you want, the selection you need, and the VIP treatment you deserve. Jeff D'Ambrosio, Destination Downingtown, Big Finish Sales Event.
We all know that taxes are just part of life. It's true during our working years, but also in retirement. But what you might not know is up to 85% of your Social Security benefits might be taxed. Our team at Thrive Financial has helped retire thousands of people across the Delaware Valley by asking questions they never knew they needed to ask, including how their Social Security benefits might be taxed. It's time to be proactive on taxes. Get your Thrive Retirement Tax Playbook today.
Post-game show with Seth Joyner.
I knew that they had a running game.
Derek Gunn.
He has put in the effort.
Devin Caney.
Had we not won the Super Bowl, what would we be saying?
And Mike Missinelli.
Well, you know who Philly is.
Post-game, now streaming on the 6ABC family of apps.
We are back. Yes. What's going on, everybody? Hope you're doing well out there. We're Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Appreciate you hanging out with us. We had EJ Smith on a little bit earlier. If you missed any of that, you can always go to jakibsports.com or JAKIB Sports YouTube Network and check out our interviews or any portions or the entirety of our show. All right, guys. So here's the question I have for you. Who needs to step up? Who needs to step up for the Eagles? Let me throw some names at you. All right. Miles Sanders. Miles Sanders, who has fumbled twice in the last couple of games, has not really gotten going on, in terms of the running attack. He was about 3.1 yards per carry against the Cowboys team that wasn't great against the run. This Saints team equally is not good against the run. What are your expectations? I guess I'll start there. Barrett, after a couple of not so great performances from him, and in some ways reverting back to maybe old form a little bit.
This is why you get paid the big bucks, man. This is where, if you're interviewing for 31 other teams and then, 32nd being the Eagles, you got to step it up now. You've had 2 games in which you've had a lackluster, not a bad from a lackluster performance. It's time to go out there and say, hey, I'm ready to get paid. This is my time to shine. I'm about to make it happen. So, yes, he's got to step it up.
Wow, that's a big pause.
It's surprising we're sitting here saying Miles Sanders needs to step up when you look at the season that he's had. Every running back coughs up the football in his career.
Yep.
If Miles Sanders had 6, 7, 8 fumbles, I'd say it's a problem. He has 2 in 15 games. Now, one was a pivotal point of a game. It gave Cowboys additional 3 points. I get it. Now it's psychological. I'm looking at Miles' body language after that fumble in Dallas. It looked like he was almost in tears after that fumble. That's a psychological battle he's got to win now, because he's had 2 in 2 games in back-to-back weeks when he hasn't had any. He does need to step it up, but I think they need to feed him to get him in a rhythm early, to get that running game going early, something they haven't done the last 2 games. You get that running game going against this Saints defense, you've got them right where you want them in terms of running the overall RPOs and your play action as well. I think if Miles gets like 18 touches, 85 to 100 plus yards, that's a good day for him, as long as he doesn't turn the ball over.
I think he's going to respond. I think he's going to come out there and play really well in this game. I do. I think he's going to go over 100 yards. I don't think he's going to turn it over. And I think he finds the end zone at least once. I think he bounces back strong. I feel good about him. I think they're going to try to establish him early. I think Nick and Shane Steichen realize they got to get him, going early in this thing. And I think he will show you that he's up to the task.
They got to, though.
He's got to step up. Yeah. But all that said, like, we're saying all the right things, but dude, he's got to step up. Like, he's got to be better than he's been. They need you. They need him bad.
Every time we think we know what the game plan should be, they do something else. So I don't know what to expect.
Yeah.
They come out throwing against the Bears, come out throwing against Dallas. I don't know what to expect from this team anymore, to be honest.
I hear you. Yeah, I hear you.
Which sucks, man. It sucks because I think like we're talking about a Dallas team that everybody else has ran on them. And we can't run on them. To me, I didn't quite understand that what Doug was doing was a lot more potent than what we were doing, that we couldn't run the ball on them. But then I thought about it. They have a mobile quarterback down there. It's all about a mobile quarterback. When you have to run, when you run the ball, if you have a mobile quarterback, you have a quarterback to move around, it makes that defense just hesitate just for a second.
Right.
And that's all you need in the NFL. It's a game of inches, a game of seconds, man. Because you can let them, all right, stop for just a second and then have to go again. It gives you that much time to get by on a play or set up a block. And that's why I think that, his game is kind of it's kind of stymied a little bit because of that, which isn't going to help him when he goes into free agency. Mm-hmm. And, and they look at it, look at his tape and saying, all right, you didn't do it well unless you had Jalen Hurts behind you.
Yep.
So maybe you just need Jalen Hurts to be a good running back. So he has a lot to prove this game that, he can do it without having Jalen Hurts' ability to run the ball to help him run the ball.
Guess who's back at practice?
Ooh.
Number 1.
Yep.
Jalen Hurts. He is practicing today. So here we go, boys. Strap in. My man is practicing. Yes. Got the red jersey on, as does Minshew, but he is out there. He is throwing in drills. I'm looking at video that is they're over at the link practicing today. And he's letting it rip. So for whatever it's worth,
I
Jalen
feel
Hurts
giddy
practicing.
now.
Yep. Also practicing
I feel
is Miles.
now.
Miles Sanders is practicing as well. So yes, let the
He had a
giddiness
maintenance
commence. Yeah.
What's the lineup? What's the lineup though? What's the offensive line lineup though?
We don't know that yet. That we don't know. I don't even know if they'll let the writers stick around long enough to see that. Honestly,
right?
You know what I mean? But pretty interesting. Jalen Hurts practicing. If you're just hopping on with us, so we'll see what that means. Maybe this is just let's test run the car a little bit and let's see how we wake up feeling or how we're feeling later in the day. Maybe it isn't 100% lock, but nonetheless, a lot different than yesterday. Yep.
Let's go.
A lot different than yesterday. Yeah. So that's pretty interesting right there. All right, let's keep rolling with who else needs to step up here. Boy, I would say Darius Slay. I'm going to throw Slay out there to you guys because
you're about to get blocked.
I'm going to get blocked. Yes. Did somebody? Do you want to inform us on someone else, Aaron, who got blocked on Twitter?
Darius likes to block people if they're too negative, so get ready.
Okay. That won't be the first time. I got blocked by Brandon Graham back in the day, and then I was unblocked. So
rightfully so.
I've been blocked.
But I'm this is just my 2 cents.
Yeah.
I think at this point, you look at how Slay has played, and everybody's saying he hasn't played well. Well, he hasn't been challenged either. I know, that a lot of those plays we think that, all right, you're a all-world corner. You should have just made the tackle. Forget worrying about somebody else's deal and not doing this. You just got to go and make it happen. And, it didn't happen that way. I still think that, he's probably still a top 5 corner in the league. I still think he is. And I'm looking forward to seeing what he does this next game.
I think he's capable, but he needs to show it.
Well, that's the big thing. Show me better, you can tell me.
Yeah.
He's been talking a lot now. And I've never been, a guy to listen to, talking. Mm-hmm. I want to see production. But he's backed up, for the most part, everything that he's accomplished. He's told you about it, why he's doing it. Okay. That's just the nature of how he does it, man. That's how he plays, man. He wants to talk about it, why he's doing it, and if you can back it up, then keep making it happen.
No question about it. All right, so beyond Slay, I'm going to go Josiah Scott. Josiah Scott, Gunner. Here's where I think Miles is capable.
Didn't that sound sinister?
A little bit. Here's
sinister.
Miles is capable. Darius is capable. I don't know if it's there, at least right now, for Josiah Scott. Maybe this is just who he is at this juncture in his career.
I think this is a young player who's doing some soul searching. I'm sure the coaches have been on him about his inconsistent play after what happened in Dallas. I'm sure he's seen a lot of the social media comments as well. Young players have to learn before they get there in terms of how to block out the outside noise. And I wonder how much it will affect him and make him think you think too much in this game. You think wrong more than you think right. Mm-hmm. You have to go out there and just react and play your game. When you start overthinking situation, that's when you get into trouble. This guy has been called out by a teammate. I'm sure he's been lambasted by coaches for what he didn't do in the Dallas game. Yep. You heard EJ talk about how he is a matchup liability when it comes to decent slot receivers. Does he need to step up? Absolutely. Will he step up? Major question mark right now.
I'm with you. Yeah, those no truer words have ever been said than your last sentence, right? I mean, does he need to? Yeah. Can he? You know, I'd like to go dunk a basketball, but guess what?
Me too at this point.
Unless there's a
On the
trampoline,
there
it
you
ain't
go.
happening, my man.
Well,
Okay.
Guys, I'm going to tell you this. He has it rough every time he goes in the spots for Avonte Maddox. But then he turns around, they start him. He becomes a capable player. His role is to be that backup to come in times when they need him. And he doesn't fill that void very well. But when they start him, he does play well because he's had a whole week to take the reps, a whole week to know where he belongs in the system. And I think that'll make his play better than what it was. The good thing about what we're facing this weekend is we're playing against a team that likes to run the ball. And we know that we have guys that can go in the box and do those type of things.
Right.
We can play with the, Reed Blankenship playing in the box or having Kayvon Wallace play in the box and, might play him at a slot just because he's going to be run filling a lot. They don't really have a slot player besides Chris Olave that you really have to say, oh my God, we got to put somebody on him.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's going to play to our strengths a little better because the nature of how they play the game.
Fair enough. Okay. I'll throw one more at you. And again, this may fall into the category of he does, can he? Okay. Quez Watkins.
You got to know your role.
Yeah.
You got to know your role. He needs to know his role. And his role is to play. His role is to play
on the outside,
a go route,
right,
and just run deep. Run, Forrest, run. That's what run,
yeah.
just run, just go. Don't have him playing outside. Just like what Dallas did with what was his name, T.Y. Hilton?
Yes.
He's a 9 route runner. He's a go route runner. He ran a 9 route. They went and caught it. That's what his specialty is. That's what his speed is. That's what he's done for years. He went out there and did that and had some production. Well, they need to do the same thing. Hey, you don't go on the field unless it's 3rd and 20, and you just run a deep route. Period. Just go deep. I don't care what they call. It could be 322 watch stick nod, a 3-step drop. No, I want you to just run deep. Just clear it out, and if you open, we'll get it to you. Mm-hmm. That's just the type of player he is, man.
Yeah, but they keep trying to throw the ball at him over the middle. I don't get that. I just don't understand.
Because he's open in the scheme. He's open. He should be able to do that, though.
He's open, but he can't close the deal. How many times we got to see this?
He coulda, shoulda, woulda. Honestly, coulda, shoulda, woulda. He's supposed to be able to do that, bro. I mean, you get paid. You paid a lot of money to do that, and it's BS that he can't do it. He should be able to do it.
Yeah, he can do it. He's got to be tougher. I'm not expecting to be AJ Brown. I get it.
Right.
That AJ Brown's a different, level. But come on, man.
Right.
You got to
exactly.
You got to be better. All right, so let's come back and let's dive into the NFL. We have a game tonight that's a very interesting one with the Titans and the Cowboys, and we'll explain why it's very interesting from a Titans perspective. So we'll do that. Derek Carr situation in Vegas, Aaron Rodgers update, Josh Norman back in the news.
Yeah, what is going on there?
Yeah, man, interesting. Playoff implication games, NFC power rankings. But the big news is, and we'll continue to talk about it throughout the rest of the show, the final hour of the program, Jalen Hurts practicing. And by the video that I've seen, he's letting it rip. So it's not one of these deals where he's just kind of out there and he's in a jersey and he's watching. No, he's participating in drills and whatnot. Miles Sanders also practicing, as is AJ Brown. AJ Brown's got a compression sleeve on that knee that he got hit on, but he's out there as well. So a lot of the big boys are out there practicing today. So we will talk about it more when we come back. Derek Gunn, Barrett Brooks, Rob Ellis, we're Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. All right, let's talk about hybrid work and Razor technology. The future of work isn't remote or in person. It's a hybrid model. In facing this new reality, businesses must reimagine their workplaces to align with preferences and needs of modern employees. Razor Technology helps businesses create a workplace that gives their teams flexibility in choosing how and where they put in their hours. Online platforms for communication and collaboration combined with secure and adaptable mobile devices are enabling hybrid meeting experiences that are nearly on par with in-person events, so everyone can feel like they're a part of the conversation. Employees with strong social connections and their team report better well-being, higher productivity, and stronger retention rates. Razor Technology helps growing organizations adapt to hybrid environments with industry-leading digital tools and insightful guidance that promotes efficiency and workplace satisfaction. You can learn more by calling 866-797-3282, 866-797-3282, or visit Razor Technology online at razor-tech.com. That's razor-tech.com.
Go for the beers, go for the cheers, go for the hit and the hits. Go for the scene, go for the screens, go for the gallery, go for the win, go to Ocean.
At Pond Lehocky, we've recovered billions of dollars for our clients, and we're confident we can do the same for you. With over 250 years of combined courtroom experience, we've helped over 100,000 injured clients obtain some of the largest settlements in Pennsylvania. One conversation is all it takes to help you and your family get back on track. If you've been injured in an accident, give Pond Lehocky a call.
Number 1, Jeff D'Ambrosio. Destination Downingtown is rolling back prices for a December to remember. For a limited time, you can own, not lease, brand new 2023 Jeep Wranglers for only $30,995 or $339 per month. New Ram starting at only $30,995 or new Ram 1500 Bighorn Crew Cabs $189 per month. Zero down can deliver. Get the price you want, the selection you need, and the VIP treatment you deserve. Jeff D'Ambrosio, Destination Downingtown, Big Finish Sales Event.
We all know that taxes are just part of life. It's true during our working years, but also in retirement. But what you might not know is up to 85% of your Social Security benefits might be taxed. Our team at Thrive Financial has helped retire thousands of people across the Delaware Valley by asking questions they never knew they needed to ask, including how their Social Security benefits might be taxed. It's time to be proactive on taxes. Get your Thrive Retirement Tax Playbook today.
Game Show with Seth Joyner.
I knew that they had a running game.
Derek Gunn.
He has put in the effort.
Devin Caney.
Had we not won the Super Bowl, what would we be saying?
And Mike Missinelli.
Well, you know who Philly is.
Post game, now streaming on the 6ABC family of apps.
Welcome back, everybody. Sports Day, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. And we'll dive into the NFL stuff in a second, guys. But this just came down, and it's a big one. Pele has passed away. Pele, 82 years old.
Jeez. Oh man,
the greatest to ever do it in the game of football, aka soccer in the United States. Won 3 World Cups, but was a guy who introduced a lot of the world to the game. Has passed away. So 82 years old. He was having a lot of health issues the last few years, but just a remarkable presence, man. I mean, you're talking about an all-timer, a GOAT. I mean, a really legitimate GOAT. But to win 3 World Cups is crazy, right? And being such a huge part of that thing, he was a real influencer in a lot of ways in his country, but he brought soccer over here to the United States.
Yeah.
Played
for the New York Cosmos.
New York Cosmos, exactly right. Not the biggest guy in the world, but certainly was great, and was a young man in 1958 when he played for Brazil the first time. But amazing. Just an amazing career. So in all, Pele played 114 matches with Brazil. And in those 114 matches, he scored 95 goals, including 77 in official matches. So he came up big at the biggest spots too. Yeah, this guy was he was just different, man. So
he was.
I still remember that movie.
Yeah,
yeah.
The movie of all movies when they were in prison. What was that movie?
Oh God, Stallone, right?
Stallone, yeah,
Stallone, yeah.
The greatest movie ever, bro. He had everybody's back hurting because everybody went out in the backyard and started trying to do that
bicycle kick.
That bicycle kick. He was a significant reason why I even paid attention to soccer. But way back then, when basically soccer was
Victory was the movie. Sorry,
yeah.
Victory. That's right. There we go. Victory.
Soccer was an afterthought for Americans in a lot of ways.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, this world-renowned player Pele decides to play for a team in the United States, and then all of a sudden, the commercials. You talk about an ambassador of the game.
Yeah.
In terms of just getting people who basically were turned off to soccer just to even peak at soccer just because of the incredible things he could do on the pitch.
Yeah.
Man, I still see visions of him now playing back then with the Cosmos. And I wasn't even a soccer fan, but I had to see because of this Pele guy.
Mm-hmm.
That's a shame.
Yeah,
82 years old. God rest.
What's the matter, Barrett?
I guess I was around 10 or 11. We watched Victory,
right?
And it was me and my boy, man. So we're out there practicing, trying to do it.
You were trying to do bicycle kicks. I'd like to see some.
So
video
our neighbor came over, so he wanted to help too, so he come try to do it too. he threw the ball up in the air, and my friend came over and went over to try to kick it. And stupid neighbor left his hand, his wrist in the air, kicked his wrist and broke his wrist, bro. We're looking at him like his wrist, like it was straight across. It went like this.
Oh my God! Wow!
And it made me think. I'm looking like, oh man. So I'm like, man. I told my friend, I said, hey man, you go take him to his mom. I'm not going over there.
Yeah, right.
They're not blaming this on me.
Yep.
Why would you throw the ball up so the guy could kick it?
Yeah, right. I mean, but yeah, so shame on the dude who let himself get kicked. Get out of the way, man.
Right, man. But that's crazy that I thought about that, man.
Yeah.
Stuff you think about, man.
But yeah, Stallone played a goalie in that, and Pele was just. But yeah, Pele is a world-renowned figure. It doesn't matter what country you're in. Yeah, everybody knows who Pele is.
No question.
And was. So yeah. That's a shame. So rest in peace, Pele, and certainly an unbelievable life led, and what an influencer, man. Incredible. All right. NFL talk here, guys. Tonight's game between the Titans and the Cowboys. If you were an Eagles fan, you're thinking, I'm ready for this, man. I'm rooting for the Titans. I can take the Cowboys out. Think again, because you're looking at like dudes being yanked off the street literally to play in this game for Tennessee. Mike Vrabel's decided, I'm shutting it down. I'm giving them a week off, man. And we're gonna gear up for next week against Jacksonville. Which here's the way I'm looking at this. That's a dangerous way to go when you're playing as bad as they're playing right now. And I get the injury concerns and all that, but you've lost 5 straight games, and you're likely going to lose 6. You're going to go into that Jacksonville game limping into that game. So not only is it no Tannehill, it's not even Malik Willis. It's Josh Dobbs. Like he's basically saying, I'm going to throw Willis out there with a compromised offensive line, and there's no Derrick Henry. They're missing like 6 studs on defense.
Yep.
Dallas is going to have a field day tonight.
Bro, they're gonna try to bust the clock on them. They're gonna try to score 50.
He said bust the clock.
Yeah, man. They're gonna try to beat them boys to sleep, man, because they're trying to gear up, man. Dallas on the real is they're fighting, man. They got something to fight for. They've got that dog mentality right now. They want to make sure that everybody knows that they're a team to beat, even though we're gonna spank that ass when we see them in the playoffs.
Wait, spank what?
Spank that butt in the playoffs.
Oh, okay. All right.
Thank you, Derek. I appreciate that, Derek. Thank you.
I'm here for you, Barrett.
Thank you. Yeah. But realistically, what is he thinking about? How do you sit guys down? You're not good enough.
No, Josh Dobbs was just signed off the Lions practice squad 8 days ago, and he's starting tonight.
Yeah,
he might play better than Malik. Malik is young, dumb.
He might complete more passes. I mean, every time I see
to wide receivers,
9, 7,
yeah, not
8,
the other team.
6.
But good luck. It's not like he's going to have some great running game to lean on. Derrick Henry's not playing.
When you're a young quarterback like that, man, it's tough to go in there and play, man. Just look how many times that that Pittsburgh quarterback just played a young and dumb game, man. When you're young and dumb, you just make mistakes.
Yeah.
And that's exactly how Pittsburgh is finally now starting to go through it, and he made enough mistakes that he now sees the mistakes he's made, and he's not making them anymore. It's taken him a while to get to that point.
Sure.
But that's a travesty on Malik Willis also, that they're not allowing him to grow. I'd be pissed.
Yeah, I don't like it.
No, man.
I don't like it. I mean, Dallas just got a gift. They got a gift tonight, man. More than anything.
You just conceding like that? Come on, man.
And that's not like Mike Vrabel, man. But
no, it's not. It's got to be from up above.
It's got to be up top. Yeah,
I guess.
It's got to be.
I guess.
I still don't understand that tiebreaker though.
I think the gist of it is, Derek. Even if they lose, Tennessee's basically a game back.
They are, but
they would.
Jacksonville's already beat them once. So what does it come down to? Division or conference?
Yeah, I believe that's what it comes down to. So it is. You're right. It's a little bit confusing. For sure. They win the tiebreaker over Tennessee based on head to head. As of right now, but yeah, Tennessee. I guess look, they wouldn't be doing all this if they didn't have some kind of knowledge that if they win the game next week, they're in. So. I don't know. Wow. Jalen Hurts is taking the first team reps with the ones, and according to a bunch of the beat writers who are there, his ball appears to have the same zip, that it's always had. He's looking pretty clean, making throws.
Okay, all right.
Whatever it's worth. So just trying to pass along as much as I get here, off of what the guys are tweeting out who were at practice looking at it. You're seeing. I mean, I'm looking at him in some of the drills, and he's moving around well. He's throwing hard. He's throwing against his body a couple times where he's kind of rolling left and then throwing right, which, may tell you that he's got some confidence in that shoulder. So anyway,
I keep telling people, man, he could have played last week, man. It's just, I like the cautions they're using. This may be a little bit of gamesmanship in a reverse type of way, where they're trying to, make the Saints go out there and play for both quarterbacks. It may be a little gamesmanship, but I mean, it's the nature of how you do it. Now, I would definitely now switch the tackles. It was no question right now that Jordan Mailata would be at the right side and Dillon would be at the left tackle. I mean, if my starting quarterback, I'm putting my best 5 out there.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's just what I would do. Protect my investment.
No, I think it's interesting. I think that's really interesting. All right, so that's something to keep your eye on. If we get any word on what the offensive line alignments, they may kick the writers out by that point. I don't know. But if we get any word, we'll let you know how it shakes out. So there's that. Then there's the curious case of the Derek Carr situation in Vegas. So if you didn't hear, he's been benched for Jarrett Stidham.
What is that? What is that, bro?
Well, by the way, they're not even mathematically eliminated yet.
No, they're not.
They need some miracles to happen, but they're not done. So they're sitting him. Not only are they sitting him, basically Carr and the organization agreed, yeah, you know what? Probably best for me to just go home. Okay. Take the next 2 weeks off, Derek. Bye-bye. Like, what is happening here in the
$30 million quarterback is told to stay home for the last 2 games, not be a support, an extra set of eyes to this young kid who's making his first career start. 4th round pick from 2019, making his first career start. You would think your veteran backup would be on the sideline and be an extra set of eyes and ears for him. You tell this dude to stay home. It's agreed that he should stay home. You imagine being told to stay home making $30 million?
I'd like to try to imagine it. If someone wants to, reenact that with me, I will give you all my information.
If I was making that kind of money and Joe and Xander Krause told me that it would be in my best interest to stay away from Barrett and Rob for as long as possible, you wouldn't see me till next football season.
If I got that word,
I've been trying for the last couple of months, man. It's just not working, bro.
Do you want me to reenact if they said that to me, how it would look?
And you still paying me?
I think it just pulled something moving that quickly.
Like, Man, I would tear my hamstring getting out of here, man.
I would tear everything. I have a full body tear. It's all right.
What?
Yeah, please.
Ain't even close.
Unbelievable. Yeah. So that's a weird spot. So the Raiders are basically hanging a for sale sign on him.
What happened, man?
Well, I think what this is, Derek or Barrett, I think it's two things, right? With Derek Carr. I think there's they realize that you can't take it any further. It's over. Let's hang a for sale sign on him and let's start working on that right now. And he feels the same way. He wants out. But I think there's that. I think they want to tank and lose these next two games. I think they want to do that. I don't know what their draft situation is. I honestly don't know, but I would assume that it plays into it too. It's not like you think you're going to do anything with Jarrett Stidham, but I am fully convinced that they're going to take a run at Brady. You got Josh McDaniels there. Yeah. You have Devontae Adams. You have Hunter Renfrow, who's that kind of slot guy like he had in New England with some of these guys. Yep. You got Darren Waller. If he's healthy, is nasty. We can't seem to stay healthy, but if he gets healthy, he's nasty. They're better on defense than they've shown. Like I really believe, and I think Mark Davis likes to be splashy. It's Vegas, so wouldn't surprise me one bit if they take a run at the GOAT.
And you ticked off Devontae Adams, who came out and said to the media yesterday, he's the main reason I'm here.
Yep.
And you did. Devontae Adams ain't happy right now, so
nope. You better make him happy real fast.
You better make him happy real quick because he's not getting the same kind of balls he's going to get from Derek Carr.
Well, has he been getting those balls though? He hadn't been getting them until later half of the season.
He's still a 1,000-yard receiver. I mean,
I'd be interested what kind of effort you're going to get from the rest of the team. You know, where they're like, all right, we're clearly quitting on the season, and this guy goes home and gets paid. Like if I'm Devontae Adams, am I going over the middle and getting lit up? I don't know.
You know what? It's funny. It's funny you should say that, Rob. And you know what? You're right. I don't care who's on a football field, and we talk about this yearly. About players quitting, teams quitting, pouting when you make unpopular personnel decisions. You are paid a 7-figure income to play a game. Yep. I don't care if you're 16-0 or 0-16. You go out there and you bust your hump every game because you have a luxury and affordability that most people will never have in their lifetimes. You know, but it's true. You know, you wonder what the mindset is. You wonder if players will shut down. Will they play half-heartedly? I mean, it's the nature of the beast across the board in sports, but it's just unfathomable that we are even sitting here talking about this from professional athletes. Imagine going to your job, I don't care if you're working as a contractor, washing windows, a CEO, and you're pouting because your friend got fired and you're not going to put in a good full day's work.
Fair.
I mean, think about that.
No, fair.
I'd pout for you, bro.
No, you wouldn't. You'd be laughing your butt off. No, you wouldn't. You'd be pouting your butt off. If you get noticed D gun fire, you'd be saying, about time we got rid of that dude, man. I couldn't wait.
I pouted, bro. I pouted for you, bro.
There you go. See that? That's love, man.
Rob, you're not buying this, are you?
Friendship, man. That's friendship.
Are you really buying this, Rob?
I did, man. I do.
Thank you.
You see, Rob unfills me. He feels me.
I got you, man.
Look, man, I ain't buying nothing from both of you jokers, man. You kidding me? I ain't buying nothing.
All right. Elsewhere, this was a pretty funny story. So Josh, you remember Josh Norman, the cornerback? He's been out of football the whole year. He owns a coffee shop in Atlanta, and he's basically been, running it. That's what he's been doing. He said he would only come back for certain situations. So he's running his coffee shop. He gets a call from the Panthers, and they said basically like, hey, man, we got injuries. J.C. Horn had surgery. We need somebody. Would you be interested? And he said, yeah, I'd love to come back. All right, we're going to put you on the roster. You're playing this Sunday. So he pulled him out of the coffee shop. He's practicing with the Panthers, and he's going to play this weekend. And what's a huge game for them? Amazing.
Do you think Josh Norman is in any way, shape, or form in game shape?
No.
He put his whole focus in opening up this shop, this coffee breakfast shop of his.
Yep.
You're going to walk off the street and try to play a game? A hamstring. I see hamstring coming. I see it coming. Happened to Deshaun Jackson, first game with the Ravens.
Yeah.
Pulled his hamstring. I see it happen.
Quarterback's a little different, man.
Dude, you running as much as a wide receiver, dude. Come on, man. Are you kidding me?
I tried, Derek.
And you trying to keep up with these gazelles playing wide receiver? You just going to walk off the street? Come on, man.
Well, I'm sure he ran and stayed in shape, I mean, I can see him doing that. Just like, we brought in, Linville Joseph and Ndamukong Suh. The Ndamukong Suh was making millions doing, in his trust funds he was messing with, and his companies that he was running.
Right.
So I mean, maybe he stayed in shape, bro. It's a little different.
Stay in shape doing what?
Serving coffee, bro.
Look, I can see Josh Norman doing a lot of this during the game. Hey,
yeah.
Somebody come in for me real quick.
But there's
breathe.
There's a precedence is there. Because you look at the Rams last year in the Super Bowl, they went out and got Waddle, what's his name? The safety?
Weddle.
They went and got Weddle off the street. He was running, how he stayed in shape playing basketball. He was playing basketball at like an LA Fitness or something every day. And came in and started the Super Bowl and balled out. So there's a precedence that they've done it before, bro.
True.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like we thought the Linville Joseph was going to come in. He only played like maybe 10 or 12 reps.
Right.
That guy came in and played 30-some reps, bro.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you.
So there's a precedence, that you can do it. It can be done.
Right. No, look, that's fair. That's fair. We have seen it for sure. Aaron Rodgers yesterday didn't practice. I haven't seen any word on today yet, but he has a sore knee. I would be shocked if we don't see him.
Aaron Rodgers ain't missing this game against the Vikings.
Vikings,
no way.
Huge game. Yeah,
no
that
question.
man's played the whole season with a busted thumb. You think a sore knee is going to stop him from playing against the
Minnesota
Vikings?
too?
No,
Minnesota too. Yes, and Kirk Cousins is 4-3-1 against him in his career.
Who do you have? Who do you have, Derek, in that game?
Green Bay's favored by 3.5 in that game.
Green Bay's winning
Which
that game.
is shocking the heck out of me, man.
Yep.
They're playing it outside in the cold in Green Bay. I don't know. Green Bay's last two games are against two teams that still, Minnesota's still trying to stay on the Eagles' heels, which could end this Sunday. And then you got Detroit who's still trying to slip in the back door. It's two tough games for Green Bay. He ain't missing these games, man. Unless he gets physically beat up or something else broken, Aaron Rodgers is not missing these games.
Yeah.
And he's
no way.
He's one of those guys going to want to come back and say, I told you so.
Yeah.
You counted us out.
They're relaxed. Yeah. Yep, exactly.
What do you hit him with last time? Relax.
That's right.
What he spelled it out too.
Yep. And now that they beat Miami in Miami, they're jacked up now.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
Because I honestly don't know if Washington is going to beat Cleveland, to be honest. And all Washington has to do is lose one game. If Green Bay runs the table, Green Bay's in and Washington's out.
Impossible game to predict because Wentz is playing quarterback. Like it's hard to know what he's going to look like for a full game. I don't know.
Now, you mean Carson, Duck, and Chuck?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not putting my money on Carson. If I'm an offensive lineman, I'm going up. Hey, Carson, look here, man. Let me tell you something. First time I see you look like you scared to throw the football, I'm gonna punch you dead square in your equator. Okay, I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. I'll take the fine. I'll take the suspension. I'm telling you right now, we've put ourselves in a position to get in the playoffs for the first time in a long time. I'd much rather have Taylor Heineke out here, but we stuck with you right now. So let me tell you something. What you did early in the season, taking 7, 8, 9 sacks a game, I hope you do that today because you know what? Before the game is up, I'm going to turn around and sack you myself just to prove a point.
See, hey, calm down, Derek. You're being very aggressive right now. I'm kind of scared.
And then I'm going to go find Daniel Snyder and punch him in his forehead for making that move. Punch him dead square in his forehead. Hey, you know what? I feel bad for Washington players. I really do. They got to go through this mess. You got to go through this mess. I don't care what mistakes Taylor Heineke had last game. Yes. He had a couple turnovers last game. Wentz been turning the ball over all season. You are 5-3-1 with Taylor Heineke on the center. You are in the playoff picture because of Taylor Heineke and his ability to deliver the ball and to avoid losing significant yardage in crucial situations. And you're going to bring Duck and Chuck back in here.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, no question about it. No question about it. All right. So a couple other things I wanted to hit here with you guys. So teams with playoff implications. Now, Dallas, certainly the Titans, although the Titans don't really care that there's still playoff implications. I guess it doesn't matter if they lose the game. You have a Lions team that is still alive for the wild card playing the Bears at home. You have the Chiefs who are still trying to get that number 1 seed. at 12-3, taking on the Broncos at home. Seem to be both favorable matchups for the home teams there. You have the Dolphins and the Patriots. That's a really big game for the bottom of the AFC wildcard picture.
Mm-hmm.
And we know it's not going to be Tua. It's going to be Teddy Bridgewater for the Dolphins. You have the Colts and the Giants. Giants need a win to wrap up a playoff spot. They don't have it locked up yet. They're 8-6-1. Panther. Here's the huge one, guys. 1:00, Panthers, Buccaneers. Panthers, Bucs in Tampa. Biggie.
Wow.
Biggie right there. 7-8 versus 6-9. But if the Panthers can win, man, look out. And Derek, you mentioned the Commanders. That's a big one against the Browns. They're home. That game's in Washington. Jaguars playing the Texans. Jags looking. I think that Doug said he's going to play his guys. He's not going to take the Vrabel approach in this one. So if you're wondering how Doug would go about it, he's already on record. His guys are going to play. The 49ers and the Raiders. The Niners. Can the Niners move in terms of seeding? I think they can. They've been red hot. Then you have a really good one here. Both teams need it bad. The Jets at 7-8 on the outside looking in. Mike White quarterbacking, and Seattle at 7-8 still have a chance at the wild card. The game we were just talking about is the Vikings and the Packers. This game is really big for a lot of reasons, but Green Bay not done yet. Excuse me, for a wild card, and Minnesota still trying to get that 1 seed. The Chargers wrapped up a playoff spot. They played the Rams. That game's obviously it's in LA, but it's the Chargers are the home team. And then you have the Ravens and the Steelers. And then a really good Monday night, guys, Bengals and the Bills. That's
I can't wait to see that one. I cannot wait to see that one. Can't wait.
A quality Monday night. That's for sure. So, a lot of that. This is exactly what you want with the NFL, right? It's coming down to the very end of the season with big games in place. So I want to hit you guys with this. Howard Eskin put this out there yesterday, and I thought it was interesting. In terms of the ratings on Christmas Day. And, you look at the ratings, what the NFL did versus what the NBA did. Excuse me. So the Sixers drew a little over 4 million. Lakers, Mavs, 4.3. Celtics, Bucks, 6.03. The Grizzlies and the Warriors, 4.7. And the late game, 2.49. Okay. The NFL, in comparison, Packers, Dolphins, 25.92 million. Broncos, Rams, 22.5. Bucks, Cardinals, 17.1. So the NFL flat destroyed the NBA. And what I think was a really weak card. In fact, the only decent game was the Packers and the Dolphins.
Right.
The other games were just It is amazing the popularity of this sport, guys. It's Teflon. It doesn't matter what happens around them. It's unbelievable. But they're not just beating the NBA and other sports; they're destroying the NBA and other sports.
And I think the NFL today is a watered down product. I think expansion has watered down the product in a lot of ways. You don't have 32 legitimate starting quarterbacks in the National Football League. You don't have 50% legitimate backup quarterbacks in the National Football League. And yet it is still the cash cow of the planet in terms of professional sports. And that includes European soccer, which is huge over there. The NFL knows how to make money. Everybody thought this Thursday night football stuff wouldn't fly. It has become a staple. Think about how long Monday Night Football has been around, since the 70s. People thought nobody's going to want to watch football on Monday night. You just get home from work. It's still here today. Look at how many times they've expanded since the 70s, 80s. I believe it's because it's a once-a-week event, more so like the other sports are every other night. Football is a once-a-week event. It is still the mega draw that it has been over the last 20 years and continues to grow. Streaming now, all this stuff, that you have. All these teams have their own digital teams now, so you're getting more access behind the scenes.
Yeah, way more content. Yep.
Way more content than ever before. And it has basically sucked everybody in. I can't give the NFL, say what you want to say. There's a lot of negative you can say about the NFL, how it's structured, how it's run, how decisions are made, but they are brilliant in terms of knowing how to generate interest and to make money.
Yep.
You're right about that, man. They maximized the entire year with everything they have stepped up. You know, they've got, you know, the bowl games, which, you know, leads you up to the combine, to the combine, leading you up to free agency getting you to the draft getting to the OTAs and everything, and then the anticipation for that month and a half where baseball is just sitting there, that you just fiend for any type of football.
Yep.
So they've done it, man. They've done it. They definitely know how to do it, bro.
Yeah. I mean, think about this. Look at the numbers they draw for a combine. We sit there and watch players running up and down the field around cones, catching meaningless passes. It gets bigger every year. People watching the combine gets better every year.
Yeah,
it's unbelievable.
The next step is they're going to televise the joint practices. That's coming.
I agree.
Yes,
that's
coming.
They'll stream them. They'll stream them.
They'll stream them. I think the biggest draw for me, I think, is it's not as oversaturated as the other sports. You play once a week. You know, there's a recap, there's a build up. The anticipation is killer, and it's an event every single time because there's only 17 regular season and then whatever the playoffs are, as opposed to 82 or 162. I just think it makes such a difference that there's so few of them in an age where we can get everything all the time. You can't with the NFL, you know. So
here's what I think is one of the best and most brilliant moves they've made in recent years. Moving the draft city to city and making it a huge block party.
Yep.
Think about what it was in Philadelphia. Think about how warm it was on a day when it was cold leading up to that. Yep. It was. And then look at the other cities that now get it. It has become a huge block party. People travel to go be a part of the draft now. Cities are making humongous money. Hotels, restaurants, gift shops, simple things, gas stations, all convenience stores, department stores, making huge money off of the draft, which has become a mobile caravan now year to year. It's almost as big a discussion as which city gets the Super Bowl this year.
Absolutely. They bid for it.
Yes. Now
they bid for it.
Can we get the draft a 3-day weekend in our city now?
Mm-hmm.
It's unbelievable what they've done, man. Kudos to them for being able to pull off this stuff.
Yeah, and you guys were down there at the art museum here when they had it here. It was insane. It was insane.
I had to be down there with Barrett, man. I mean, you know.
The only downside.
Yeah. Well, now that you mention it, yeah.
I hear you.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm sorry, Trish. I stepped out of
Yeah, you're not holding up your end of the bargain. All right,
it ain't 23 yet, man.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, you got a couple more days to be nasty to Barrett and I. So Ed Reed, following in the footsteps of Deion Sanders, will be going and becoming the head coach at Bethune-Cookman in Florida. He was working as an administrator with University of Miami, his alma mater. So he goes from the U to Bethune-Cookman to be the head man there. Of course, Ed Reed, legend, NFL legend, college legend, etc. But taking over at another HBCU college. So, fun fact: Bethune-Cookman is the alma mater of John Chaney, Temple University.
Yep.
So
my boy that got drafted with me, his name was Howard Smothers. Went there. Got drafted in the 7th round, offensive tackle out of the Bethune-Cookman. Yeah.
Did he make it?
He made the squad. He made the squad for 2 years, and then they cut him after the second year.
Okay.
Yeah, Smo was my dude.
Yeah, I don't remember him, but yeah,
he was my roommate. He was my dorm mate in training camp, and I've only known one person that could snore louder than me, and that was him. So it was a race to see who could fall asleep the fastest.
Right.
But he was snoring so loud, it got to a point where I just got up, left the room, and I went and slept on the couch outside the door.
Wow.
And I'm sleeping outside the door. There were people that knock on our door. Hey, man, stop snoring, man. And they knocking at the door, and he getting pissed off because they waking him up. But he was snoring that loud. I mean, that loud that people in the hallways would hear it. And I'd be sleeping. I told Ray, Ray, if you want me to get through this camp, man, you gotta get me out of this. You gotta get me out of this situation, bro. You know what I'm saying? You got to.
Did he hook you up?
No, he didn't hook me up. He told me, "Hey, man, you know." He told get your ass back in the room. I said. So as he's saying that, it's like 12:30. He's saying that, right? I said, "Nah, coach, it's all right. It's all right. Come on, let's go." So we're walking towards my room. He said, "What the heck is that?" I said, "That's Howard, bro." We got to the door. I opened the door. He's like, "B. Brooks, B. Brooks, B. Brooks. This is amazing." I said, "What you mean? It's amazing?" He's snoring that loud. He said, "This is amazing. I never heard anything like this."
My God.
They were banging on the wall. You know, it's concrete in these dorms.
Oh, God, yeah.
We're Westchester.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We're in Westchester. They're banging on the walls trying to wake him up. I'm like, I can't take it, bro.
I think Ed Reed, I think Deion Sanders has started something in terms of former players going back and bailing these schools out that have been struggling for years just to stay afloat. I can see this becoming a big fad for players going back to help out these historically Black colleges.
It's twofold.
It's been a long time coming. You know,
It's
you get
twofold.
Ed Reed, you're going to get better players.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Ed Reed walks in your house, Hall of Famer. I'm playing for Ed Reed, you know. Who would have thought that Deion Sanders would be able to get like the number one player at his position to go to Jackson State? And he did.
Did you see his son? You see his son is like number one as far as
yes,
Heisman Trophy
yes
for next year in
the quarterback. Yeah, Shedeur Sanders. Yep.
And guess who the athletic director is at Bethune-Cookman?
Who's that?
Former NBA player Reggie Theus, who's also their head basketball coach.
Wow.
See,
but this is twofold for him, man.
Yeah.
It's twofold for HBCUs and for the players going back there, because a lot of places you can't get these jobs without having an NBA number one or second, their degree. You can't get it unless you go to an HBCU, and it also helps them to put some, head coaching, check marks on their list of, all right, you've had some coaching experience.
Yeah.
So it's twofold. It'll help these schools. It'll help recruit these schools. It will help players, say, all right, I'm going to go. Because when I was in school, it was never pushed to go to an HBCU. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And to tell you the truth, you had to have high grade. You had to get high grades to go to these HBCUs. They don't just accept anybody, regardless if you play football or not. It's hard to get into Howard. Yeah. It's hard to get into Morehouse. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? It's hard to get in these universities, man. So I love it, man. I really do like it. I mean,
very cool. Very cool for Ed Reed. I can't wait to see what he does there. All right, let's do our NFC power rankings, guys. Let's dig in here. Who wants first crack?
I'm going to surprise everybody.
All right, Barrett.
With my number 5.
Okay.
Let's see. All right, let's see, Barrett. Let's see what you got.
The Giants.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
The Giants at number 5.
Yep.
Okay.
My number 14. Your Packers.
What?
Yes, your Packers.
What are you smoking?
I'm not smoking.
I'm not even that crazy.
They're gonna beat Minnesota, bro. They're gonna pop into this playoff. They're gonna beat Minnesota.
They got to get help though. You got to get help.
Then I'm gonna go with your brother's Vikings.
Yep.
Then the 49ers and then the Eagles.
Okay.
What?
Okay. No Cowboys?
No Dallas?
Bro, I've erased them from my mind, bro. Never.
Wow.
Okay.
Done. They're gonna be one and done. Why would I want the Cowboys? I'm never. That was my fault anyways for even put them on a list before. I'm never putting them on a list again. Ever.
Okay.
Ever.
All right. Fair
Hey,
enough.
look, Timberland says D-Gun is going to go on a vision quest with Rodgers if they win. Nah, bro, I ain't going to Amazon, man. I ain't doing it. Can't do that, bro. I love the outdoors and wildlife. It's too many crazy critters in Amazon. I ain't going down there, man.
Yeah, I don't know.
You guys could put Dallas on there if you want to, bro. I'm still pissed off.
I don't want to, but I have to at least acknowledge.
Woo!
No, man. No. Mm-mm.
Who you got, Rob?
All right. You're gonna think I'm nuts here too. Okay. I put the Packers at number 5.
What? Did both of you collaborate on this? Did I miss the show meeting or something?
I have the Packers at 5. I have the Vikings at 4. I have the
Okay.
Cowboys at 3. I have the 49ers at 2. I have the Eagles still at 1. So I go Eagles.
Rob, how can you put the Cowboys?
I
on your
hate
list,
doing it, man. But I'm just trying to keep it real. I hate it.
Oh,
I can't
Sorry.
do it anymore. I'm still mad, bro. I feel like I was slighted.
Yeah, you haven't gotten over Christmas Eve yet.
No, I feel like I got slighted, man. Honestly,
wow.
honestly, Dak Prescott played a perfect game and they barely beat us.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, he was as good as he's ever going to be.
Yeah,
and it came down to a play where he had the ball in the 19 and couldn't get in.
Yeah, but that one on Dak, that was on the Cowboys defense that the Cowboys let him back in like that. I mean, Dak did what he had to do. Dak balled out that game. Okay.
Right. No, he did. It's not a knock on Dak, but it's just the Eagles in general. And it's
forget the stinking Cowboys, bro.
Well, unfortunately, to irk Mr. Brooks, I have the Giants at 5, Minnesota at 4, Dallas at 3, San Fran 2, Eagles 1. I am not about to put the Vikings in front of Dallas after the Dallas weed whacked them in Minnesota, beat them 40-3. It was a mob hit.
That was destruction.
Yeah, that was total destruction.
Yeah,
So that's where I see it. The Giants get in by default. Did you guys know this? Only 5 teams in the NFC are above 500, and only 6 in the AFC right now are above 500.
Jeez.
Then I started looking at playoff teams. Out of the 14 playoff teams last year, since they went to 7-game format.
Right.
Only 6 of those teams from last year have secured playoff spots already with 2 games to play.
6 of the 14.
6 of 14, and I didn't even look at how many will not make it because of the Rams ain't getting in. Green Bay's still on the fence.
Tennessee's on the fence.
Tennessee's on the fence. So I didn't even include those teams that are on the fence. So only 6 out of 14 teams, as we sit here with 2 games left, have made the playoffs this year.
Man, that's
just the parity in the NFL, man. I mean, they've done a masterful job of letting teams compete and stay up there, with either stay above the mean or below the mean, in the NFL, man. I'm surprised, man. I'm surprised because there's not a lot of there's not a lot of double-digit team wins, man.
No,
it's not.
No.
All right, let's step aside. Oh, go ahead, Byron. Sorry.
The NFC South doesn't have anybody with double digits.
They should just be added.
Neither does the AFC South.
Take both Souths and just
right.
Yeah.
So we'll come back. I got an on this date for you, which I think you guys will enjoy. We got birthdays, we have movies, and we'll get it back to the Eagles, and it's Jalen Hurts practicing, which is the big story. And then beyond that, you have AJ Brown and Miles Sanders also practicing. So interesting stuff out there from the Eagles, which we'll dig into when we come back. Don't go anywhere. Barrett Brooks, Derek Gunn, Rob Ellis. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network.
Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean.
At Pond Lehocky, we've recovered billions of dollars for our clients, and we're confident we can do the same for you. With over 250 years of combined courtroom experience, we've helped over 100,000 injured clients obtain some of the largest settlements in Pennsylvania. One conversation is all it takes to help you and your family get back on track. If you've been injured in an accident, give Pond Lehocky a call.
Number 1, Jeff D'Ambrosio. Destination Downingtown is rolling back prices for a December to remember. For a limited time, you can own, not lease, brand new 2023 Jeep Wranglers for only $30,995 or $339 per month. New Rams starting at only $30,995 or new Ram 1500 Bighorn Crew Cabs $189 per month. Zero down can deliver. Get the price you want, the selection you need, and the VIP treatment you deserve. Jeff D'Ambrosio, Destination Downingtown, Big Finish Sales Event.
know that taxes are just part of life. It's true during our working years, but also in retirement. But what you might not know is up to 85% of your Social Security benefits might be taxed. Our team at Thrive Financial has helped retire thousands of people across the Delaware Valley by asking questions they never knew they needed to ask, including how their Social Security benefits might be taxed. It's time to be proactive on taxes. Get your Thrive Retirement Tax Playbook today.
Post-game show with Seth Joyner,
I knew that they had a running game.
Derek Gunn,
He has put in the effort.
Devin Caney,
Had we not won the Super Bowl, what would we be saying?
and Mike Missinelli.
Well, you know who Philly is.
Post-game, now streaming on the 6ABC family of apps.
Final segment of the show. Thank you for being a part of our 3 hours of power here. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. We do it each and every day, 12 to 3 Eastern, Monday through Friday. All right, I got it on this day for you guys. You ready?
Let's do it.
December 29th, 2015. What happened on that date?
World War I.
2015?
Oh, I thought you said 1915. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, man. I was enjoying my savory snack here.
Oh, but well, that's a big canister there you got.
I took it from my wife during the commercial break. She goes, "You want some?"
And you took the whole thing and you said you want some?
She's had enough. I'll give it back to her in about 15 minutes.
What is that all about?
Did you just say she's had enough?
Yeah, exactly.
I'll give it back to her in like 13 minutes. She can have
You
it
get
back.
a little napkin and you drop a couple in there and you walk away. That's it.
Who you said she's had enough?
To be honest, she gave it to her. She goes, "You know what? Just take it." Because that's the kind of person she is. Unlike you two, that's the kind of person she is.
Oh, my God.
A very giving individual. Okay?
All right. So it was just 7 years ago, not 1915, but 2015, December 29th. All right. I'll tell you what happened. Chip Kelly got fired. Garrett and I were doing Breakfast on Broad together.
Yeah.
Gunner, you were covering the Eagles on a full-time basis. I know exactly where I was coming out of a Christmas basketball tournament for my daughter who was in like 5th grade. We had just played. I'm walking to the car. My phone starts exploding in my hand. "We need you to come right in." And I'm like, whoa, what the heck, man? And all hell broke loose after
One
that.
of the greatest moments in Eagles history. Sorry, that dude.
It all started with a conversation up in the front with the owner.
Yep.
Started.
Well, I think it started when after they lost the game, he put the blame on. I was at the game. It really blew up. They lost the game.
Yeah.
And he blamed front office or somebody like that.
He never took accountability.
Yeah.
He always deflected.
Basically blamed Howie.
Maurice do this?
Yeah. He itched the neck. That was just yeah.
You
guys would understand. And he started talking real fast. You're like, oh.
Yeah.
You know how much he must have had to tick off Jeffrey Lurie for him to fire him before the season was over?
Less than a year after yielding full power to him.
Yep. Gave enough rope to hang himself.
Yep. And to hang himself, he did. That's for sure. Yeah. So that was it's crazy. It's only 7 years ago. I mean, the Eagles
like a century away.
Eagles have won a Super Bowl with the guy they hired from coming off of him. Now they're onto a new coach, and they have the best record in the NFL. Like and there are some guys playing. Like Kelsey's still there, Lane Johnson's still there, Fletcher Cox is still there.
Isn't Lane one of his guys?
Yeah,
yeah.
There's a couple guys who are actually holdovers from Andy.
Yep,
that are still left, right? Kelsey is because Howard Mudd was the coach, right?
That's right.
Yep. Kelsey.
Yeah, man, unbelievable. So yeah, that was 7 years ago. All right, let's do some birthdays. And Barrett, I know you got to duck out.
I got to duck out, guys.
Right,
See you tomorrow.
Oh, searching your duties again. Okay, go ahead.
Oh God, poor Barrett. All right. Let's hit a bunch of these, Gunner. Let's start with this one. 1936. Mary Tyler Moore Rest in peace.
One of my favorites, man.
Phenomenal, right? Phenomenal. A groundbreaker in a lot of ways,
Yes.
with, as far as women leads in the TV shows with the Mary Tyler Moore Show. And great career, man. Dick Van Dyke, Mary Tyler Moore, movies. She did it all. And she had a production company that killed it.
It was very good. Yeah, very prominent at that time.
No doubt. Ted Danson, Cheers fame, 75 years old. Cheers and a million other things, a lot of movies for Ted, and still on Curb Your Enthusiasm and some of those other shows. The actor Jude Law. Jude Law is 50 years old. Yeah, today. Our 17th president of the United States, Andrew Johnson, was born on this day in 1808.
And why did he become the president?
Did he take over for who was assassinated?
Lincoln.
He took over for Lincoln.
Yep.
Yeah, that's right. Good call. John Voight, the actor, is 84 years old today.
Do you know that for all the movies that John Voight was in, my favorite of his still was from 1979, The Champ. When Ricky Schroeder was his son, he played the boxer.
He was really good in that.
He was really good. And that is still to this day my favorite John Voight movie. And what really got me was Ricky Schroeder was maybe 6, 7 years old. And the scene, I'm not going to give much away, but the scene where he's crying at the end.
Oh my God.
Dude, I mean, first of all, how many takes did they have to do for that?
I don't know, man. That's a hard thing to do for a little kid like that.
Pull that off tremendously.
I'm with you. That's a really good one. The actress Jane Levy is 33 years old.
Okay.
Catherine Monig, who's a Philadelphia native, is 45 years old. Patricia Clarkson, who's been in a lot of stuff, is 63 years old. Myles Garrett of the Browns is 27 today. Mekhi Phifer, who a favorite of ours, is 48 years old. Danny McBride, actor, is 46 years old. Mean Gene Okerlund, the former wrestling announcer.
My favorite, man.
Yeah. He would have been 80 today. He was awesome. He was one of those guys, like, no matter what was going on around him, he was like dead serious. Like he was like a real newsman,
And then the looks on his face when he would throw it to break, like the serious look.
Yeah.
My favorite was Hulk Hogan would get up and, let me tell you something, Mean Gene.
Yeah. Or Roddy Piper be screaming and he would just
man,
dead straight. Theo Epstein, 49 years old today. Former baseball executive, now working for the league. Sean Payton, who could be coming back to coaching. We don't know yet, is 59 years old today. Gunner, I purposely put this one in here because I thought you would appreciate it. Ray Nitschke was born on this day in 1936.
That's right.
Your Packers.
That's right. There you go.
Charles Goodyear, who invented the tires and vulcanizing rubber, was born on this day in 1800.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, still Goodyear tires to this day. He's still doing his thing. The influence. That's all I got for birthdays. You got any other ones?
Wow. Let's see. You got Alexa Ray Joel, the daughter of Billy Joel and Christy Brinkley, 37.
Yes.
Eric Berry, the former DB for Kansas City. He's 34.
Good career.
Charlotte Riley, who played in the movie Peripheral and London Has Fallen, plus Edge of Tomorrow. She's 41.
Okay.
Allison Brie is 40. Diego Luna is 43.
Yep.
And Jennifer, I'm going to mess this last name up, E-H-L-E, from the movie 30 Dark Zero.
Ely, maybe Ely. Yeah.
She's 53. And then Michael Cudlitz, who played in Walking Dead and Band of Brothers, is
he's a good actor.
Yeah, I love him. He doesn't, he's not a name that rolls off your tongue. He's a solid actor.
Yeah, you see him and stuff, it's good. Yep.
He's 58.
That's good. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Movies, there's not a ton, but these three are pretty good. The Hurricane with Denzel. We actually talked about it, yesterday, right? Denzel's birthday was yesterday. So we talked about it yesterday, funny enough. Came out in 1999, but really good movie if you haven't seen it. Reuben Hurricane Carter, his life story. So you got to check it out if you haven't seen it. John Dickerson is a fan of, by the way, Allison Brie.
Yes. You sound like Rob.
He's strong. 12 Monkeys with Brad Pitt, which was shot in Philadelphia. In fact,
yes.
Was this day in 1995 it came out. And The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, Clint Eastwood. This day in 1967. Still
one of my all-time favorite Westerns.
Yep. Absolutely.
Excellent movie. Yes.
Did I miss any?
No, you didn't. That was it. That's all I had. Yeah.
Okay. Look, as I mentioned, the big news here today is we didn't know going in when we came on the air. It came down, in mid-show, but you have Jalen Hurts practicing And, by the look of the video that I saw, look, I understand it's not live bullets, but, it didn't appear to be favoring the arm or the shoulder when he was throwing.
Right.
It didn't appear to be limited. They were letting him kind of rip some. It was like mid-range stuff. He wasn't throwing, deep balls or anything like that. But he was out there. So what does this mean going forward? I really, truly believe, Derek, like they're going to look at it and say, all right, how you feeling like tomorrow? How you feeling, man? Is there soreness still in there? So I don't know that it's 100%, but it's definitely a good sign that he's going to play on Sunday.
Well, I think you'll be put through another series of tests both today and tomorrow with the doctors. Okay, let me see you do this. Let me see you do that. How does it feel? Is there any pain in there? Then they're going to probably take another look at it as well, x-ray it, and just double check it as well. But they understand the magnitude of this game. You do not want to have to play that last game full bore, and especially a division game, and especially that opponent on the other side needing that game as much as you do. That's when crazy stuff happens, even crazier stuff when it comes to injuries and stuff like that. That's the last thing they need, because then if you get hurt in that Giants game, that's less amount of time for you to try to heal up to get ready for a playoff game.
Exactly.
So you need to put this to bed ASAP. Now, I know I don't want to hear from people, hey, good, Jalen's playing. If he goes out there and gets hurt against the Saints, anything, D lineman falls on that shoulder again, something he throws it a certain way, guy catches his hand, hey, I don't want to hear, you shouldn't have played him in the first place. I don't want to hear that mess, because players play injured all the time. You got to decide, is it important enough to play him now? Wrap this thing up so we can get you extended. It's a risk you take when you play the game every time you step on that field.
Yeah, and I think, more than anything else, I take this as an encouraging sign no matter what, that it's, there was speculation, is this thing worse than we thought? If he's out there practicing today, it means it wasn't, they were just being cautious. Yes. I would view it that way. So that's a good sign, in terms of the severity of the injury that he's
no question about it.
AJ Brown out there as well as Miles Sanders. Both guys were listed out with knees. All right, so we got to run, Gunner. So we're back at it tomorrow. We'll put a bow on the week tomorrow. Get you set for the Eagles and the Saints. It's been fun for Derek, for Barrett, and by the way, thanks to Xander Krause. Thanks to everybody in the chat section, everybody listening, everybody streaming. We appreciate you. We got the National Football Show coming up with Dan Cilio. So we're back tomorrow at the same time. For Derek, I'm Rob. We are Sports Take. Thanks for hanging out with us. We appreciate it.
Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean.
At Pond Lehocky, we've recovered billions of dollars for our clients, and we're confident we can do the same for you. With over 250 years of combined courtroom experience, we've helped over 100,000 injured clients obtain some of the largest settlements in Pennsylvania. One conversation is all it takes to help you and your family get back on track. If you've been injured in an accident, give Pond Lehocky a call.
Number 1, Jeff D'Ambrosio. Destination Downingtown is rolling back prices for a December to remember. For a limited time, you can own, not lease, brand new 2023 Jeep Wranglers for only $30,995 or $339 per month. New Rams starting at only $30,995 or new Ram 1500 Bighorn Crew Cabs $189 per month. Zero down can deliver. Get the price you want, the selection you need, and the VIP treatment you deserve. Jeff D'Ambrosio, Destination Downingtown, Big Finish Sales Event.
We all know that taxes are just part of life. It's true during our working years, but also in retirement. But what you might not know is up to 85% of your Social Security benefits might be taxed. Our team at Thrive Financial has helped retire thousands of people across the Delaware Valley by asking questions they never knew they needed to ask, including how their Social Security benefits might be taxed. It's time to be proactive on taxes. Get your Thrive Retirement Tax Playbook today.